Hello everybody and welcome. My name is Ryan. This is Civilization 6 and today we are going to be making a comprehensive guide, an analysis, an encyclopedic reference to the culture victory on Deity. This is every decision explained. We are going to go through a game right until we win and then probably further in order to explain every single mechanic I can involving culture, tourism, and the culture victory. We're going to be covering the basics, the advanced bits, strategies, how to use and abuse the systems behind the game, and hopefully by the end of this, no matter if you are a new person to Deity or an experienced player with thousands of hours in the game, either you're going to take something amazing away from this video, or if you could be so lovely, if you do spot anything either I get wrong or you want to add to this, let everybody know in the comments. This is going to be the most amazing reference document for everyone. Updated, of course, for 2026. Not that that massively makes a difference because we haven't had an update in a couple of years, but you know what I mean. Cutting edge. A few things I just need to let you know quickly. Timestamps. This video is going to be incredibly long. We've already done one of these for the science victory, and I believe it was over 3 hours long. So have a look at the timestamps. I'm going to do a really good job of making sure we cover all of the different segments, like chapters. If you want to cut to and from or skip or go back, absolutely fine. Equally, if you think there's something really good in this video you want to highlight, feel free to timestamp in the comments so that other people can see it. Secondly, mods. My game might look a little bit different to yours, especially if you're playing on console, but even if you're playing on PC via Epic or Steam, I use a lot of mods. Specifically, you can see down here, 57 are enabled currently. Now, if I click on this, you will see there are 0 gameplay mods. This is exactly the same game under the hood that you will all be playing. This is Civilization 6 with every single DLC. If you don't have the DLC and you're just playing base game, or you're missing a piece of DLC, I would strongly encourage you to get all the DLC for Civ 6. This game is frequently out on like 80-90% discounts. Equally, they often give bits for free on certain platforms. The game is so much better with the DLC. I could not recommend it more. But this is cosmetic mods. This basically means that I am going to be either changing the look of the game, changing the graphics or the color palettes as a very basic thing, or I'm going to be putting more information on the screen. Now, I'm a YouTuber. When you watch these videos, I need you, the dear audience, to know exactly what I'm doing at all times. So some of that information, like builder charges tracking, extended diplomacy ribbons, happiness and growth indicators, all this does is take information that is already in the game and then just makes it easier to see. So if you're watching a video, I don't need to be diving into menus all the time. You can just have a look at the top of the screen. Then there are a few other mods that you will have seen before, but I should kind of draw attention to, such as quick deals. This is a way that you can basically trade with any of the AI really quickly and get the best deal. This massively improves the game. All of these deals can be done without the mod. It just takes a lot longer to look for them. And I do need to mention this one, Socrates Tourism Overview Screen. We're going to be using this comprehensively because culture victories and tourism is just incredibly complicated at the best of times. This mod does wonders for taking information that is behind the hood in Civilization 6 and putting it right to the front so you know what we're all talking about, okay? If you want a full list of my mods, it's on Discord. There's a link in the description of every single video I put up onto this channel to the Discord directly. Just click on that and have a look. Let's set up the game. As mentioned, this is going to be on Deity difficulty. I'm going to be teaching you how to play the game on the hardest difficulty setting that comes with the game. Standard speed, a lot of people play online. Quite a few people play on Epic or Marathon. Standard speed is the speed that the most people play on, and I would argue is the most balanced speed. It's really odd the way the mechanics for this game work. Some things are scaled perfectly with game speed, other things are not. For instance, it's a well-known feature or bug of online speed that great person projects provide way too many points for the production you put into them, and equivalently Marathon, you get basically none. Standard is kind of as the game is intended. That's why we're going to be playing on standard speed. Continents and islands, I wanted a map that was somewhere between a land-focused map but have the opportunity to use naval in some capacity. So they're going to have big land masses with people on the same land mass as us, but also a little bit of space to go and settle, and naval capacity in case we want to send trade routes via the sea, or you want to play it with a naval civ. Some maps that a lot of people like, such as highlands or lakes, well, they don't have any capacity to use the navy at all. Seven Seas is a little bit better, but has the same problem. I I think other good maps are Primordial, Pangea, possibly even something like Inland Sea or Island Plates, but Continents and Islands is a favorite of mine. I'm going to be playing on a standard sized map. That's 8 players. It's kind of the default. Maybe you could argue the default is small, 6 players, but they're kind of a little bit. If you go to dual for 2 players or huge and have 12 players, the game does change subtly. We'll talk about it as it comes up, but standard is very much what you need to see. Now, game modes. There are a lot of game modes available, from zombies to dramatic ages, monopolies and corporations. These will change not only strategies for the base game, but also strategies for the culture victory considerably. So I'm going to be not turning any of them on. They're all going to be turned off. For instance, Barb Clans massively changes the early game, as well as putting more city-states into the game. Monopolies and corporations makes culture victories incredibly trivial, and secret societies or heroes and legends modes, well, they make things very easy for all different reasons. Resources I'm going to keep on standard, start position, balanced, everything else left alone, including with barbarians left on. Okay, so this is a very default game with the default settings. Now, who are we going to be playing today? I decided for this encyclopedic guide that I did not want to play anybody who was specifically set up to win culture victories, because a lot of them either make culture victories a little bit easier, or they change how culture victories work entirely. For instance, Canada has a unique unit that can print national parks, usually a very powerful feature that is scaled quite heavily on faith production. Canada are incredibly strong for tourism. Equally, you have civs like France, who can generate a lot more tourism from wonders. Greece with half-price culture districts or theatre squares. Maori, who don't work with great works of writing. There's a lot of options I could pick here that either change the game substantially or trivialize certain aspects of it. Another good example is Sweden, because when you're playing as Christina, you don't need to theme great works at all, which kind of takes a little bit out of the tutorial. Now, today I'm going to be playing somebody who is culture victory adjacent. We get benefits towards it without changing the mechanics at all. There is no additional tourism generation, just a little bit of early game tempo. We are going to be playing Rome, and specifically Trajan's Rome. Rome itself doesn't give any bonuses to tourism at all. We gain trading posts in our own cities, so our trade routes can go a little bit further. A little bit of extra gold on our trade routes, regardless of whether they're international or domestic. A powerful swordsman replacement, which is quite fiddly to use. We're not going to be playing particularly aggressively, so the legion's not really going to do much. And the bath, which is an aqueduct, which is very, very cheap to build and basically gives every city at least 4 housing and 1 amenity. It's a very, very good district, but again, not game breaking, and it doesn't change how the tourism works. What Trajan brings to the table is a 3 monument in every city, including in our capital from turn 1, which gives us a little bit more culture, a little bit more early game momentum. It helps, but doesn't change how we would play if we were playing anyone else. So I think it's a really good middle compromise. Here is the game and map seed. You don't need these. Come along to my Discord. I keep the turn 1 save file of every game I play on this channel there. You can literally copy and paste them onto your computer. All right? Play along with me. Show me how badly I'm playing by playing it yourself and doing better. It'll be amazing. Look at this delicious purple. It's lovely. It's the best bit about playing Rome. Fantastic. Here's the start. Get yourselves ready. Pull yourselves a lovely drink. Maybe get yourself a snack. This is going to be a long haul and we're going to enjoy it. Let's get started. So before we dive too much into strategies and the culture victory specifically, we need to look at the start of the game on turn 1. And I like this start because it's good, but it's not very good at all. We've been through starts on games many times on this channel. Broadly speaking, you are looking for tiles that have increased numbers of yields. We kind of use the 4 yield rule as a little bit of a golden benchmark for these things. So for instance, there is a sheep on top of a hill that is a 2 food, 2 production tile. That's a 4 yield tile. There's a 1-3, a hill forest tile over there. And we've got a hill forest with some tobacco, which puts an extra faith on it. So the tiles do exist, but to be honest with you, it's not a very good start. Ideally, you'd want some really good resources that give you 5 or maybe even 6 yield tiles. Yeah, there's a lot to be desired, really. We can gather a little bit more information from this start just by using our senses. Firstly, let's zoom in. You can see there are some rocks in the river and the water is flowing from bottom to top. That means the sea is in this direction through the tundra. Now, if I was going to be looking for the coast by going to the left, I wouldn't necessarily find it. However, we also know that that usual rule may may not exactly be true, because if we go to the settle lens and I have a look at fresh water, you can see, look, fresh water along this river, but then coastal water up here. I think this is the coast. If I was to move my warrior onto this tile, all I would find is the coast. I think I'm going to move my warrior onto this hill in order to just get a little bit more vision. Yeah, that is the coast. Okay, so we're near the top of the map, tundra to our north. The bad thing about a plain start is a lack of food. Grasslands tends to have 2 food, plains tends to have 1 food, 1 production as a base, so you get a lot less food. The good thing is more production as a base. It also means we get plains hills tile. Now, if I settle in place, I will have 2 food and 1 production as a minimum yield on the city center. If I have more yields under that, like for instance, a tile has 2 production, it will increase. So one of the few ways we can do that is by settling on a plains hill. That means our city center will get 2 food because 2 is the minimum, and 2 production because 1 is the minimum, but the tile has 2. So we would gain a production from settling on that tile. We would also have wheat to work, which is an improvable resource for irrigation. It would move it to a 3 food, 1 production tile, which is good, but it does require a builder to do so. It also does move me towards this tobacco, which would give me faith, which then means I would unlock a pantheon quicker. I kind of like the idea as well of settling away from the coast. Ideally, I would like to work this sheep, but it's a bit far away. I think I'm going to gamble by settling on top of the hill, and okay, there is actually a honey there. Right on the edge, we've got another plains hill. Yeah, this is not a bad settling location. I don't mind this. This is fine. It was here that we put our hat down, and thus we created our home, the home of Rome. Just so you know, as I go through this game, I like to thank my wonderful channel supporters on Patreon and Ko-fi for all of the support they give me by making them the governors of my cities. So thank you, Leswet. Thank you, everybody who you will see yourselves in these videos and tutorials. I apologize if I end up killing you. It's probably fine. So just to show you, Trajan, 3 monument, we go into the city. There it is, giving 1 culture, apart from the fact that I have maximum loyalty because there's no loyalty pressure on this city. So we get an additional +1. So instead of 1.2 culture, we get 3.2 culture. It's an amazing turn of speed at the beginning of game, and we like it. Also means we should be working this tile nice and quickly. The culture victory. We should talk a little bit about what this video aims to do. We're going to go through every single facet of the culture victory we can. Ultimately, culture victories are about tourism. As we go through this game, you will refer to tourism as the attacking stat. Now, tourism does not appear in the early stages of the game. We have to go fairly far into the game to start earning large amounts of tourism. Once we unlock drama and poetry, we can unlock the theatre square, the default district that a lot of this playthrough is going to be about. This will start generating writer, artist, and musician points, as well as giving us options to buy and produce buildings inside them that either give us more great people points, but also specifically giving us space for slots of great writing or great art or great music, whatever it might be. These great works provide culture, but also tourism. The more of them we have, the more tourism we earn, and we build this attacking stat up. At the beginning of the game, great works of writing give us basically no tourism. As we go through the game, art begins to give us more, especially because we can theme it. We then get music, which gives us even more, and we start picking up cards that boost tourism considerably. 100% tourism from great works of art in the atomic era. As we keep going, 200% from great works of music. In the information era, even further on, 50% tourism output to civilizations you have trade routes to. It builds and builds and builds, 25% extra tourism there. In the tech tree, it's the same thing. Towards the end of the game, tourism ramps up and up and up, whereas culture is something we get from the beginning. Tourism, you won't see for a while. Culture, we are going to refer to as the defense stat. Currently, from turn 1, every single player has a single domestic tourist. For every 100 culture you generate, and this is literally added turn by turn by turn on empire level, you generate an additional domestic tourist. The more you have, the higher defense you have. Then, as we start to earn tourism, we start to thieve domestic tourists from other people using our attacking stat. If ever we have more visiting tourists or tourists we've stolen with actual tourism resource than anybody else has domestic, then we win. So effectively, we need to keep our culture high if somebody else is trying to win a culture victory, but for us, we're looking to build tourism. There are many ways to make tourism. I'm going to try and go through as many as I can, but one of those ways does involve religions. There is a particular particular type of religion called reliquaries, where you can get insane amounts of early game and mid-game tourism from using relics, especially if you pair it with wonders that work really well, such as Mont Saint-Michel or St. Basil's Cathedral. Now, this is the only caveat I'm going to make. I may not get reliquaries because trying to juggle absolutely everything may be really tricky, but we'll keep that in mind. Instead, because I think it's generally a pretty good opener, we're going to be opening animal husbandry to see if we can find a source of horse. This is a resource that appears on the map that gives 1 food and 1 production, and it can be placed on any tile that's just a straight grassland or plains tile, which I have a lot of. So I think it's worth a bit of a gamble. You can also see we have 15 turns until the next growth. Often the computer does like to favor these 1 food, 2 production tiles. I'm going to force work the 2 food, 1 production tile because I'd quite like it if my city actually grew to 2 population. Now the AI likes to attack on deity. This is deity difficulty. That means the AI starts with not only a +4 combat bonus, but 5 warriors. They suck. They will rush you. They will kill you if they can. So instead of making a scout, which is the most optimum play, we're going to take the safe play and we're going to make a warrior. This means I have a second defensive unit in case somebody tries to attack me. My military strength is a little higher. I look a bit braver, but also if barbarians appear, and they will, and they try and ruin my day, we have a little bit more defense to try and stop them. My warrior is just going to sort of circle around and we're going to see if we can in some way just try and discover a little bit more about the land, but not move our warriors too far away in case the barbarians come knocking. We're looking for tribal villages. Generally speaking, apart from just a little bit of early game scouting, there is not much decision making that needs to happen in the early stages of the game. Just wait until you get to 2 population. This is literally my worst nightmare. This is the second attempt I've made at making this guide. I didn't have the Aztecs board next to me, but it was a pretty close thing. Here is the Aztecs. This is one of the most aggressive early game AIs because they have unique warriors. This is exactly what I was worried about, and this is why we're not making scouts. On deity, sometimes you have the luxury, but you can't guarantee you have the luxury. I am not going to let him visit my nearby city because it will reveal my capital and he will send all of his eagle warriors to come and kill me immediately. I'm just going to turn him away. This probably gives me about 0 turns. You can also see 1, 2 scouts have already found the capital. So we're going to have barbarians attacking me almost instantaneously. This guide is not going to be played on a map which is just easily giving me anything. This is going to be awful. Okay, we got an era score for meeting Aztec, we got an era score for the tribal village, and we just got the boost to astrology. Honestly, that's pretty rubbish. That is not what we wanted at all, but fine. Now the Aztec are probably not going to like us. There's no point sending a delegation in the early stages of the game. It only gives you +3 relationship. They liked me -5, so they're probably going to denounce me either way. There is a barb encampment. I could try and kill it to get a little bit of combat strength from the warrior. I fear if I do that, I will get killed by the Aztec. But I think really there's not much opportunity for me to not get killed by the Aztec. We can't worry about that too much. Either way, we're going to put discipline in, +5 combat strength against barbarians, and I'm going to go for God King. I would like a pantheon as soon as I can. You can see, by the way, the AI has 1.4 faith. It looks like a really weird number. Deity AI cheats. The deity AI gets 100% extra production, 100% extra gold, and 40% extra science, culture, and faith, which means Aztec is also God King, but they get 40% more than we do. It sucks, but there you go. Tribal village, unit has earned experience. Okay, that's actually not too bad. Combat strength will help us to fight off the Aztec. Again, this is a decision between the meta move, which is to rush early empire and get colonization as quickly as possible so we can get some more settlers, also to pick up a trader, or we do the thing that keeps us alive, which is a Gogi. This is 50% production towards warriors, slingers, melee, anti-cavalry range units, that sort of thing. So we're going to go for craftsmen. It's very important that we try, if we can, and stay alive. Okay, the second population appears. We are now working the 1-3-1 tile. We're getting another source of faith. Our pantheon will appear a little bit quicker now. And I'm going to just try and level these warriors up and kill the scouts before they flee in some capacity. The Aztec might get distracted by this barb encampment. I'm going to lurk here and see if I can get the kill as a source of era score. Whilst I wait for a Gogi, I'm going to get a settler. Now, the idea is we want to be getting to maybe 3, 4, or 5 cities before we really start to focus on districts. I need to go nice and wide. The more cities we have, the more sources of production, and because we're playing Trajan, the more monuments. But this applies to pretty much anybody. Okay, we can see they have fortified defense on top of some forest. We do have some extra attack strength. I'll do a little bit of damage because it might encourage the Aztecs to kill them. But you can see there is already an Eagle Warrior outside our lands. That's slightly worrying. Did we get any sources of horse? We did. 1, 2. Epic. That is brilliant. Okay, that means we have some really, really good tiles that we can work nice and quickly. 2 food, so we can keep growing. That's the problem with this 1 food tile, is it basically stops my city from growing. And they are improvable for another production. They're really, really good tiles. Next, I'm going to be working on archery. We're going to try and get some slingers out and then upgrade them into archers. They are strong units and they will help to keep me alive. Okay, there's a little bit of damage. This might encourage the Eagle Warrior to attack now. It does not. Interesting. Okay, maybe the slinger wants to get in and attack. So I'm going to move to there, get the promotion to heal myself. Maybe that works. The warrior can kill the scout. Lovely. I'll pull him back now. He's offering me a delegation, but he's also sitting the Eagle Warrior right outside. Very worrying. A culture city-state. This is amazing. Vilnius increases theater square adjacency. This is actually one of the best options we could have had. Just because we met it first, we get an envoy, we get +1 culture in the capital. So we're up to 4.5 now. That's brilliant. But if we have our city killed, then obviously it means nothing. Interesting, because the Aztecs left the slinger there, they moved out of the barb encampment, and now I can just walk behind and take it for 2 era score and some gold, which we will immediately take. That's really quite handy. Okay, perfect. There's the denunciation. You can see 1, 2 Eagle Warriors, 3 of them. Yeah, the Aztec is lurking nearby. 4. The chances of us being attacked in this early stage of the game is incredibly high. We need to go full defense, which is why we're rushing a Gogi. Keep an eye on our gold. We need 60 gold to upgrade a slinger into an archer. So we're going to keep that. They've decided because I have no luxuries, they actually do like me. But they did that the turn after they denounced me. So yeah, that's unfortunately come a little bit late. Never mind. This settler is probably a touch greedy, but we're going to try for it because then, you know, I can send a city out and escape if I need to. But yeah, you can see they're already starting to march their units and keep them here, which isn't ideal at all. I'm going to try and just work my faith until we get to 25 to get the Pantheon. So I'm not going to take God King out at the moment. We'll pick up military tradition so we can get some flanking bonuses. This is when if 2 of your units are stood by an opponent, each one will get +2 for every unit stood by it. So you can get some really, really big combat modifiers early game by doing this. Again, not ideal, but it's fine. And then we're going to switch over to a Gogi. I'm going to lose the strength against barbarians, but we'll be able to pump units out a lot quicker. And trust me, we're going to need that. Is the attack coming this turn? No, it didn't come this turn. That surprises me. Interesting. Okay, now we've got the source of horse. I can unhook that tile, and we've now got 1 more production than we had before, which is lovely. I'll move that warrior there, move you to there. I always want to keep a warrior in the city center. It increases the defense garrison strength. It would be 10. With a warrior, it's +10, so it goes to 20, and it's on a hill, which is why we've got 23. That +3 is a huge relief because these Eagle Warriors have 28, +4, which is 32 because it's deity. They're incredibly strong. I don't like it. I just don't like it. Vilnius's warrior is very injured. There's the attack. Okay, we kind of knew that was coming, but it means that if there were any barbarians in that direction, they've probably already been killed. So we're going to have to take a little bit of a gamble. We're going to move our settler unescorted. This is not what you do. This is because I'm being attacked right now. I don't really have a choice in the matter. Now, there are 2 Eagle Warriors stood here. If I leave my warrior there, chances are he will be killed. I don't think I've got much of a choice in the matter, though. We're going to start printing out slingers now. If I fortify, I will gain 3 combat strength. I have already taken -4 combat strength for the damaged unit. unit. They're probably going to double attack me. 16, 19, 24 with the river strength against 32. No, it will just get shredded. So I think I'm going to switch them. I actually want the stronger warrior out here because it's got +7 combat strength from battle cry. So it's actually 32 strength if it stood that side of the river. That's a decent defense. It's not the best, but it might be okay. So, okay, look, they're splitting their attacks, which is not bad. A little bit of damage against the city, a little bit of damage against the warrior. Fine. We'll fortify. We'll fortify. Both will heal a little bit. That's fine. That scout is mighty annoying. I hope that doesn't come back to kill me. But okay, the barb camp is still there. That means the scout is not hostile yet. When that gets killed, I say when because it's likely to happen at some point, then the scout will become a problem. So they're going to hopefully split the attacks again. They did. Okay, Rome is taking damage here, but it's healing and getting stronger. And we're stopping anybody from arriving too quickly, which is fine. I don't trust where that scout is going. I'm going to just keep moving in this direction towards the coast. There is a lovely 2-2-1 tile that I can work immediately with a little bit of housing. That's fine. Now, what pantheons are available? We're after a culture victory here. I'm going to talk about the things that would help me with a culture victory. As we go through the game, we want to be earning as much culture as possible. Culture victories basically are unlocked in, by and large, the civics tree. The more culture you have, the more quickly you go through it. So we can unlock theater squares, we can go and unlock museums, and then later we can unlock cards that give us more tourism. We also want science because a lot of culture victory buildings are also hidden in the tech tree. Flight gives tourism on improvements that provide culture. Radio unlocks the broadcast center. There are some really good wonders that increase tourism, like Eiffel Tower, the Golden Gate Bridge, BioSphere. So high science also is important. There's also tourism hidden in the tech tree. So you kind of want everything. Equally, having really good cities helps. There's an argument to be said for a lot of different stuff. Oh, I realize I actually have an extra mod enabled accidentally that's put a load more pantheons in the game. Ignore this. I'm not going to pick any of them. Okay, yeah, fair enough. I forgot about this one. I don't think any of them are overpowered, but we'll stick with the base game ones just to keep this as clean as possible. Always have a look for the 3 settler. It's not technically 3, but it helps. Alas, yeah, that doesn't exist right now. Somebody has taken it. So what other options? Culture from pastures is really, really good. We've got sheep and 2 sources of horses. That's +3 culture. That does help. I quite like God of Craftsmen. Improved strategic resources gain 1 production and 1 faith. I've got 2 horses. That does help. The honey there, if I improve that and get Goddess of the Hunt, that would be 1 food and 1 production from camps. I've only got the 1, but actually there will be a second camp over there. Equally, we could also go for something that just generally helps tourism victories, like Divine Spark. That helps me get a religion quicker, but also means that I can get writers slightly faster. God of the Forge would be interesting. 25% production towards military units just for surviving the early game. I think we need a little bit of early game help. I'm going to go either for fertility rights, which gives me a builder in my capital and increases my city growth rate a little bit, or we go city patron goddess, which helps me build the first district in every city a little quicker. The builder I could use on a farm. I could use it to improve the sources of horses, although they're likely going to get pillaged. The war is making this very tricky. Okay, I'm going to take city patron goddess for the production towards specialty districts in a city that doesn't have any. The first one, 25% faster. It really helps because you can settle cities and then chop out districts a little bit easier. It's not going to give me any bonus right now, unfortunately. But as I say, the Aztec is kind of making this a little awkward. Now, here's the thing. My defensive line across the river is holding really nicely. Rome is taking damage, but it's also healing, and they're having to cycle units in and out here. This is actually not too bad a defensive location. I think this is fine. Another furs. I'm actually going to settle on this tile. I can keep the woods and work to furs. Maybe the camps. There's also honey down here. I think maybe the camps would have been really good as well, the extra food and production, although that is a little bit later. I mean, it's working this tile, but I'd quite like the horses to be worked first, just to keep the food. Now that I've got a pantheon, I'm not going to keep fortifying. If we continue to fortify, we gain up to +6 combat strength. And because we're over a river as well, this is a really, really heavily defended unit, which is really good. Okay, this slinger, the slinger's not going to be able to do a huge amount right now. If I move the warrior out of the city, then Rome drone will be exposed. I think it can take another hit or two. We're going to just keep printing slingers, and then we'll try and get the archers. Once we get archers, we'll be a little bit more defendable. That's a relic. That is a really, really good pickup. Okay, fantastic. Some things have been really bad. Some things are much better. The relic will help massively. So we're just going to keep an eye on Rome and see how bad it gets. It's taking damage, but it's holding just about. Just need to survive. Now, we are getting support bonuses and flanking bonuses. Unfortunately, so are the Aztec, but that's +2 combat strength on that defensive unit, which is great. And in all of the chaos, we have managed to get our second city out. It builds a road between it. It is unfortunately a little bit exposed. I'm not too excited about the idea that this could just get attacked, but that is a really, really good initial tile. So we can try and build a warrior nice and quickly, get the defense up high, and we have another monument giving us another chunk of culture. Perfect. Era score. It's going to be difficult to try and get a golden age. Ideally, you would love a golden age in any game you can. Coming into the classical era, we are currently at war, which means our supplies and our economy very much are lacking at the moment. But if we were going to be looking at doing this, we'd be looking at things that could get us the era score. For instance, that's a really nice place for a +3 campus. That would be era score. There's a nice holy site that's +3. That's era score. We could claim Vilnius using Armani. That would give us 2 era score, and it would reveal some of the map. Normally, I would rush a trader at this point in order to send some production between our cities. It's going to get killed immediately if we do that. So I'm going to put in some culture into state workforce and see if that works for us instead. How bad is this attack going to be? It's bad. Okay, Rome, I don't think can take too much more. I don't think that can take much more at all. That Eagle Warrior has crossed, which isn't ideal. I think I'm going to have to push this warrior out and take that tile. We're going to bring this slinger in. But yeah, if we get attacked once more, I think the city falls. So we'll go for one attack across the river, and then we'll push out like this too. That warrior is probably dead, but it's given us a turn. Gonna be tricky. Yep, they're moving in from all angles, but we actually survive somehow. Although this warrior is now pretty much dead, and they now are across the river. Might have to make some sacrifice plays here. Warrior. Fortify for the defense, press the cancel button, then promote to give it the battle cry, the healing, the extra strength. You're going to die if you stand there, but we can get a kill. So we'll get the slinger in, we'll attack, get the kill. There's the archery boost. And now we can upgrade this archer like so. A little bit of combat strength, and we now have a decent ranged attack. This is perfect. We're just going to make one more archer there. That is a huge increase in strength. Now we go back to business. I think I would love to check if anyone's getting religion. Some people, but not everyone. Okay, I instead am gonna think about going towards currency as soon as possible. We'll start with pottery. Now this sling is probably gonna get killed. Oh no, they're gonna try and just flank it in order to get to Rome immediately, which does make sense. This Eagle Warrior is behind enemy lines. This slinger is just basically gonna get killed. We'll get the kill there. We'll attack that Eagle Warrior to try and sap its strength. It's the only one that can directly attack me. This warrior just hold out against that slinger for a bit. And this warrior, I do kind of want to keep alive. Although if it gets killed, it buys me time. So we'll fortify again. Hopefully it'll attack Rome. It did, but we have the strength to kind of hold off. Okay, this slinger now moves up a tile, gets a little bit of damage off. This warrior now has the opportunity to get the kill behind the lines because I healed it. Perfect. And now this warrior is going to have to tank some damage for a bit. I'll hit this slinger to try and get it to go away, and then we'll hold the warrior in place. The Aztec will take peace, but they won't because they think they're winning. Even giving them the relic or my second city and my gold, no, but like they just want to fight. Okay, that's fine. That is what it is. I'm gonna tap the warrior, but the slinger just stood there and did nothing. Okay, sure, that slinger seems to be stuck on autopilot. In that case, we will take advantage of that. Move this archer to this tile, move this slinger there, upgrade to an archer, fire over the top, move you back to get a little bit more defense in Rome, and start the healing once more. Keep offering peace every turn. You never know. Yep, they get one more attack in, but they weaken themselves considerably doing so, and now I have the third archer. We have an opportunity to kill that melee unit. Remember, ranged units can't kill the cities, which is good. Got another warrior. Puts me with 2. Again, I don't like spending this much early game resource on defense, but we have to adapt. And I think we will build a specialty district. It's whether or not I want to rush the governor, which I do in order to get Vilnius on side, unless I want to deliberately hit a dark age. I think it's too early to be playing that one, so we're not going to build a district there yet. Now, we'll stick stick on state workforce just for a bit. How many other units do they have in reserve? That is the question. I'm just going to move my units around because one of my archers I can give garrison for nice +10 combat strength. This one can get volley for just a nice +5, but it can be stood outside. And this archer just gets a little bit more level up. Perfect. Now, you have like no army left. Nope, still doesn't want peace. The Aztec are notoriously fickle and difficult to peace with. So it is proving. Okay, the warrior is going to just move out, get a little bit more visibility down in this area. Our archers are going to just fortify. The warriors are healing. Everything else is doing fine. Okay, this point, I'm going to just put a little bit of production into a builder, but we'll start working on a settler as soon as we can. There's the next warrior. Luckily for me, though, I was ready and I have a warrior or two in reserve. And now, as you can see, the flanking bonus is beginning to come in. But we're going to go 1, 2, and then 3. And, oh, it's not quite dead, but it's close to it perfectly. Okay, well, we've got a good defense now. I'm feeling better about this. And lock the 2 horses in to work those. And we're going to make a builder in the capital as well. You don't want to make too many builders early game. The more builders you make, the more expensive they get. And you miss out on being able to get very cheap builders once you unlock feudalism. However, I have resources that would give me a big benefit. So I do want to improve them as soon as I can. Equally, there's 1, 2, 3 decent resources. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 resources in the capital. So we do want some builders. And okay, we go. The Eagle Warriors are now returning and in greater number. So we will retreat back to the safety, wait for them to reappear, and then put them on the firing line once again. We unlock writing. I wanted to do this a little bit earlier. The war has sort of diverted me, but we want to talk districts. There are loads of districts in the game. We have holy sites, campuses, encampments, commercial hub, industrial zones, and that's just the tech tree. We've also got things like preserves, government plazas, amphitheaters. What is it that I want to build? What will help me in a culture victory? Well, firstly, I'm going to use pins to explain this up at the top of the map. The theater square. The theater square is the most important. We want a theater square in every single city. However, theater squares without production or gold are expensive, and they don't really help your economy at all. What do I mean by economy? Gold production. The more you have to make things with, the more things you make, and it becomes circular and it spirals. Because of that, I also would like a commercial hub in every city. This does 2 things. Firstly, it unlocks more trade routes. Trade routes are all going to be generating more food, more production, more gold, and later in the game, more tourism. There are 8 people on this map. I need at least 7 trade routes, but ideally I want a trade route for every city I have. Secondly, not every great person is equal. Some great people are better than others, and merchants are a good example. In the modern and atomic eras, we have 2 merchants, Sarah Breedlove and Milita Benz. Both of these lovely ladies increase tourism by 25% for every trade route. Or for a civilization, I have a trade route too. That's 50% between them. That is as powerful as the late game social media card online communities. So we want to have as many merchants as we can. That's why also we want theatre squares, because we want as many artists, writers, and musicians. That's why we are going towards the commercial hub really quickly. It's got a nice make a trade route boost, which is quite easy to do. Other districts are more important than others. Industrial zones are very important. I want them in most cities. They produce production, and production is used to make things, and great engineers are really, really good. For instance, we've got Imatep, who used right can produce 3 wonders. He is amazing. Engineers are always important. Essential districts, we want the government plaza and the diplomatic quarter in what I'm going to call the trade hub. This is where I send the city-states to, because all the trade routes too, I should say. The trade routes get sent to a city and they generate yield based on the districts in them, but these 2 give a lot. 1 food and 1 production on all routes. So I want those in the city that I am sending my trade routes to. I don't know which one that'll be for now. Then we have campuses and holy sites. Out of everything, these are probably the least important, but I want as many of them as I can. Science unlocks wonders and late game culture improvements. Faith is also a critical resource when it comes to the tourism victory. So I'm kind of probably starting on the left and then heading right. This is the plan. So we have just discovered a little bit more of the map. Samarkand, because there is a economic city-state there that has just been suzerained by Montezuma. Therefore, they have declared war on me. Well, I can do the same. With my governor, I'm going to take Armani and I'm going to appoint her to Vilnius. In 5 turns, I will suzerain the city-state, which will reveal the map to me and give me 2 era score. The meat grinder fills up once again. Actually, you know what? I might let them attack Rome once. Do I do that? Nah, no need to do that. 1, 2, and 3. We can now just get pretty much a straight kill, which is just great. State workforce has unlocked the government plaza. plaza. Although I am now looking at the river and where I might want to settle, what I could do is put some baths down there, potentially put some industrial zones down. This would make quite a nice little assortment of yields. And again, there is a floodplain up here that I probably should use as well. That might be good. Look at that. If I put a dam there, get a +9 industrial zone. Well, we'll kind of keep that as a rough idea. Yeah, but you can go crazy with pins. I like pins, making as many as possible. This is roughly what I'm going to do. Something that looks a little bit like this. We'll work it out. We'll work something out. I'm gonna delete these now before I get too confused. So now we're gonna go down to foreign trade. We haven't discovered a second continent, but we might do once Vilnius comes along. We'll switch out from God King, which we don't need anymore, to urban planning. Could save ourselves some gold per turn because we've got archers which cost gold per turn by moving to conscription. That almost 50% increases our gold, which is lovely. And you see the units are just gonna keep marching one by one. Now, there is a large part of me that is tempted to go and attack the Aztecs. They're just over there, and they've depleted their entire army attacking me. But this is supposed to be a culture guide. I'm not 100% keen on that. They can get peace now. They still don't want peace, unbelievably. We'll move our army forward, ready to bring it back at any point. Just if we threaten, we might be able to force the AI to give peace. Often, if a city is damaged, they will offer peace. Just the way that the AI mythology works. Methodology, not mythology. They're not gods. This isn't some pantheon. Pyramids has been built. You will see the AI building a lot of wonders. We're not really going to be going for early game wonders. They are a huge drain on resources. Aha, there's another eagle warrior. Just try and block it with our units where we can. Here's our first builder. Let's go and improve these sources of horses and the settlers. I want to get to all 5 cities as soon as possible. Vilnius bows to me. It does not reveal another continent, but it has revealed quite a bit of land, which is good. There are some good areas to go and settle in that direction. Perfect. Okay, that's great. There's a wonder there. There is their city. It's going to be incredibly difficult to attack and kill it with warriors and archers. I have no interest in it. To say, we're just sort of lurking in this area to try and force a peace deal with the Aztecs, which is going to be increasingly difficult, but it's worth a go. Okay, early empire. Once we get to 6 population across all of our cities, we'll get the boost for that. It's an easy boost to get as long as you can focus on it nicely. Here we go. Look, fortify across a river, nice and healthy. Get the archers in place. Start doing the damage. Go on then. Attack if you think you're hard enough. Actually, look, I can start doing damage with that archer. That's really good. We might be able to force a peace deal. They hate having their cities hit. They really do not enjoy it. Right now, currency. We do need a trade route to make that work. We'll get that in nice and quickly. And our first luxury. We do have one unhappy city. It's taking a minus 10% penalty on all resources, but there's a little bit more gold, a little bit more housing, and the luxury comes in. Perfect. Let's get that settler out as soon as possible. Thank you. Barb encampment. That is some bad scouting with that warrior. Never mind. They're building walls. AI will always be ahead of you on tech. Nope, still don't want peace. That is incredible. Don't worry about it. It happens. These things just happen. Now, he's still not making peace. All right, I'm going to keep my units defensive. I could go and pillage, get some yields. Again, trying to keep this guide relatively guidey, which is obviously not working. We've got a good defensive position here. I think we can work with this. This is fine. We could try and deliberately go for a dark age, which would mean going heroic in the next era. So I'm actually going to sit outside this tribal village and just see if we can do that. We'll spend some gold, getting a trader to get the currency boost. There's peace. And they're offering me 5 gold per turn. Okay, I'm going to take that gold in actual gold, please. It equates to pretty much exactly 100. There we go. Now, the most important thing we can do now is try and make friends, which is good. Should be relatively easy. Once we give him this luxury, he should like us. I'm going to bring back pretty much all units just for now for defense. Apart from this warrior, I'm going to go and keep exploring in a couple of turns. Open borders, 1 gold. Yeah, I can come through his borders. We can actually go and explore the map with that unit. Okay, this is what I mean. Each trade route is worth 1 food and 1 production. Now, Rome means we get 1 gold because there's a trading post in every city. We get 1 gold from that. But if in the city I send the trade route to, I have a government plaza, the domestic trade routes go up by 1 food and 1 production. So that would become 2 food and 2 production, which is a substantial amount, which is why we want to make sure that this city gets as much as possible. I will send that trade route now, boost currency. And once I get a little bit more housing in Antium, that's going to be great. The only thing I do know is that Antium desperately wants the bath on that tile. It's the only tile that connects to a mountain that I can work. We'll give it a lot of housing. So this is essential. I also think I want to settle on this tobacco in order to put a bath onto the lake. Again, this whole area has no fresh water apart from the lake. I guess I could settle directly directly on it. Doing this means we can make some pretty cool stuff. So yeah, something like that is fine. We want our cities to be good and powerful. This map will be big. There'll be space. The Aztecs like people if we have the same luxuries they do. So I'm going to get this second source of fur and say, hey, would you like it? Oh, he's already got it, apparently. Doesn't say you have it, but sure. Okay, fine. In 4 turns, I'm going to unlock early empire just through the boost. So I'm going to put some culture into unlocking mysticism to get revelation. Try and get a religion. Do you want a religion? There's 5 of them in the game. A few people are going for them. I still could. 1 turn. I think we can just about force a dark age here. Just trying to work out where the next best place to settle might be. It's going to be an Aztec settlement down on this little peninsula, which isn't great. We are being squeezed. I think I'd like to go and settle towards Samarkand. Just to try and grab some of this. It's all the same continent. Yeah, let's head over this way. See what we can find. So you can make a district for every 3 population you have above the first. So we need to get to 4 population to unlock the second district. So government plaza, campus, I could put down now. I think I'm going to put the government plaza there in order to get as much range around it as possible. Do I make it now? Give me another governor, which would be handy. Make the trade routes a bit better. Yes, I think I will. Okay, let's pop it down. So the benefit about going into a dark age is, yeah, loyalty is a bit of a problem, but if we hit a golden age, we go heroic next stage, which would be amazing. And we have a bunch of fun stuff that we can do with the dark age cards. Inscription is still saving me gold. Urban planning is still giving me a bit of production. Mysticism finishes. Early empire is just ready to go. I really wanted to boost that, but I don't think we're going to do that one, are we? Actually, you know what? If I can settle there and there, that would give me a good area to make some industrial zones from. So that's kind of going to be the plan. What was in the tribal village that I was missing? A builder. Not bad. Now we've earned envoy, which I'm going to save because once we get a government, we get diplomatic league, which lets us double up that envoy, which is really good. We've gone for a dark age. Aztec luckily didn't go golden. They just went normal. And I think the easiest way to generate era score is to go 3 inquiry because there are more Eurekas than there are inspirations. We may not get a religion. Somebody has already gone for a religion and we're a bit late to the party, unfortunately. If it wasn't for that war, I think we would have had a really good opportunity, but alas, what can you do? All of the best guides are dismantled as soon as the enemy get involved. That's just the rules of the jungle. 105 gold is very expensive, but that is honey. The Aztec hate me doing that. Look, I've been trying to give you luxuries this entire game. They'll take 138 gold and they would like me for that, which means he's less likely to attack me. Again, we're having to play slightly differently because of who we're next to, but that's fine. Give me the gold. I want my capital to be a high population as soon as possible, so we're just going to force work that out, get to 4 population. The first governor, we're going to go for Magnus so that we can make settlers without reducing population and so that our trade routes get 2 extra food when sending them to the capital. That would turn this 1 food, 1 production route with the government plaza into a 4 food, 2 production route, which is a huge improvement. So Magnus, in you go to Rome. And now we've got to meet 3 city-states, go political philosophy, and we're going to start to explore once again. Now I know there's a natural wonder over here, so let's go and find that. Vilnius is doing their best to kill this barb encampment. I'm going to try and join in as best we can. And as much as 2 extra production is good, I'm going to switch to the colonization card in order to get a little bit of extra production towards this settler, because I get more. There you go. He's decided that there's more in common now, which means he is positive relationship with us. We'll try and keep working on this. Okay, accepted my delegation. I'll give him open borders. That should be enough. Plus 15. He should really like me now. I want a friend in the Aztec. I do not want to have to fight him the entire game. Wait for that face. The face is gone. He dislikes me less. This is a good sign. Barb camp. I think I can get that kill. Yes, 2 era score. We're looking to go from 10 at the beginning to 34. This is the age we want to make it happen. We want to hit a heroic age. And there is the 3rd settlement, which is a little bit of extra production settling on the hill. Another monument. And we can just explore up here into the tundra slightly. Government plaza finished. I get a governor and the trade route is already a little better. A couple of turns of settlers and we can get surplus logistics, a little bit of extra growth rate in the city. That is a percentage on the excess of food once you've taken away all of the losses. So we're currently making +5. That means it's worth +1 food, which doesn't sound like a lot. Because It's not really, but it all helps. Delicate Arch, just a little +1 era score for finding it, but again, we know the mission. The mission is to get that golden age. We need it as quickly as we can. The classical era. We have currency, which means we have commercial hubs. Now, we want to put our districts down as soon as possible. 2 of our cities still have the production bonus towards them. The commercial hub itself is not very good in Antium because we don't have any rivers, but that's why I put the government plaza here, just to give it a little bit. Notice this is 105 gold because I'm buying it 3 tiles away. If I go to my capital, buy it there, it's only 70 gold, and then we can simply transfer it over, saving 35 gold, which is great. Let's pop that district down, lock in the production because the more techs and civics we unlock, the more expensive it gets, and then finish that settler. Ogdunium, going to do exactly the same. I'm just going to build it over this tundra tile because there's very little else we're going to be doing with that. In fact, actually, we'll get that working as soon as possible. Now, irrigation. I'd like to work that tobacco. Ideally, that would be good. And population for the capital. You know what? I am going to chop out that wheat. Bam, like that. There we go. We've got loads of extra food here now. That'll take me to 5 food. We'll get a lot more production here. And this is a +4 commercial hub. That gets me era score, so we'll get that working. Now, the Aztec like me now that I've given them open borders and luxuries, so the friendship. Okay, as much as I would like revenge with Legion, this is a culture guide. I'll let them go about it, and now they can move their settler around without fear of me taking it, which is kind of annoying, but never mind. Hopefully we'll find some more city-states. It's a boost for political philosophy on the line here. Oh, that's a lot of barbarians. Run away. Oh, the Aztec have just settled exactly where I was going to settle. Okay, if we build up the population in these cities, hopefully we'll be able to put some loyalty pressure on it. I'm going to still settle this one. It says -6, but I think I can make it just about happy with amenities, so we should be fine, especially with these extra luxuries. Yeah, no chance of getting a religion this game. That's fine. So instead, we continue along our path. Campuses, yeah, but industrial zones. That's the one that we would really like to get. So we'll have a look. It's just horseback riding and then 3 mines for apprenticeship. I think we're going to just unlock bronze working in order to unlock the iron. The district discounting is a thing. Not going to worry about it too much in this particular game. The idea on that is that you just don't unlock the encampment ever, because the less districts you've unlocked, the more likely you are to be able to get a good district discounting mechanism. Quite a small little continent, isn't it? No matter. The Aztec have a religion. It's Shinto. World wonders give faith. To be honest with you, that's not a particularly exciting one for me. And there's political philosophy. Okay, let's talk governments. There are 3 options, and they generally boil down into this. If you would like wonders or want a powerful capital, autocracy is the one for you. If you're going to war, oligarchy. If you want to earn great people or have an economy, classical republic. Now, this top ability, whatever it is, this is something that we can gain as a legacy card once we go to another government. Because of that, I would like the extra housing and amenity in all cities card. This is just what makes classical republic really good, and 15% extra great person points will help me to get merchants. So we will work on this. Classical republic, any city with a district gains extra stuff. And interestingly, I'm 1 turn away from being able to use a really, really good Dark Age card. Isolationism. Extra food and production on domestic trade routes, but we can't train or buy new settlers or settle new cities. We're going to keep an eye on that for now. First of all, Diplomatic League. We have an envoy to spend with Samarkand. We're going to put urban planning in, a little bit more production across the empire, and then conscription because it gives me the most gold out of every card. Oh, Samarkand we actually already had an envoy with. Ah, mistake. Always check that. Right, drama and poetry. We need to unlock the theatre square. The next big thing for us. Always take loyalties with a little pinch of salt. It says -7, but if we get the dies, it means this city will, once it works itself out, hopefully be highly happy. The loyalty won't be quite as bad. We'll work on it. We can always move a governor in if we really need to. I could buy tiles to make a commercial hub on this river, but it's going to cost me way too much gold. So we're not going to do that, no. Instead, we'll just put it on the coast in the hope that we can build a harbor next to it later if we need to. Now that Aztec are being friendlier with me, I can sell things to them. Like on my horses, get a lot of gold. Just saving it for something. I think I'm probably going to save my gold for either settlers or amphitheaters or markets, something that will improve my economy. Portugal has found us from across the sea with substantially more yields than we do. It's typical Deity, don't worry. The AI will always be 500 steps ahead of you. That's just how the AI works. They have huge bonuses. We can make this up by trading with them. We're going to sell them our copy of furs and in exchange get jade and spices, which makes cities a lot happier. Specifically Aquilia, which now gets +3 loyalty, and you can see it's slowly fighting against the unhappiness. Once we settle this one as well, that will massively help. I settle there. I can make a bath and then double industrial zone for all of these cities. Yeah, but there are things we can do to make this a little better. We would love this merchant and as many merchants as we can get. So we want to up our gold per turn. We want to up our merchant points per turn. I'm going to just buy the market. It is expensive, but it ups my gold and just gets this city going as quickly as possible. We'll make the trader and then use that trader to grow another city. Portugal, like everybody else, I'm going to try and just make friends with as soon as possible. So I'll give them open borders and a delegation, send them friendship immediately. Well, it didn't work. You have to try. I don't necessarily want to be at war with anyone. Culture victories are all about peace. We are literally passing by. Aztec's getting a little unnervous there about the fact my units are all over their lands. It is genuinely a coincidence. Right, this is city 5. Okay, so we got to the 5 we were looking for. Now we need to just make sure that all of these cities are doing as much as they can as quickly as possible. We now have a little bit more happiness. Loyalty still not quite there in that city. There you go. Friendship with Portugal. We don't want to be at war with anybody, and this helps massively. Sailing. This will give me access to a galley, which will give me era score, but then we can go and explore. If Portugal can get to us, it means we can get to Portugal. More city-states, more continents. 3 era score for a 4 adjacency commercial hub. And that farm has just been obliterated. Lovely. Perfect. Diplomatic favor can now be sold, which we will to start saving up gold. At this point, the relic could also go. This is an incredibly valuable thing. I was saving it just in case we ever found ourselves in a situation where we got a religion. Reliquaries basically means you get triple tourism on your relics. It's a hugely useful way of getting tourism. Not today. There's the market. And I think we're going to go for the ancestral hall, which gives me another governor, but also more production towards settlers in this city. And every time we settle, we get a free builder. You may be thinking, Ursa, you've settled 5 times already. It's not worth it. Well, it still is. We plan on getting to about 20 cities. That's the aim, about 20. Don't think we'll have a problem with that. Now we're going to go for wheel, for the watermill, and then engineering for the bath, which would involve getting masonry for the boost, which we do want. So we'll keep an eye out for that. 2 loyalty per turn for cities with a garrisoned unit is good, but I think the trade route, getting extra food and production, seeing as we're not making any settlers right now. Yeah, isolationism. Let's run it, and we can try and just force into Planet Janet Aquilia to grow as quickly as possible. These trade routes are worth 6 food, 5 production now. Hugely beneficial. And we've unlocked the theater square, which means we could try and get some writers. Now, here's the thing. There are 5 classical era writers. If the game leaves the classical era and not all of them have been claimed, they are lost forever. But if they are in the game, doesn't matter who earns them, I can buy them later. So we're just gonna keep an eye out for that. We don't mind if we're not the ones to get it. We just want to make sure that they're all in play. Okay, there's a bit of extra population. The loyalty is really struggling, you know. I kind of hoped that this would have sorted itself out. Apparently not. Once we get another governor title, we'll be able to help it just a bit. Let's see what this population does. If we get one more pop, does it improve it massively? Yeah. Still -3. We're going to lose the city in 10 turns. We don't want that ideally. We need to change this around. Isolationism means that colonization shouldn't really be in that. So we're going to just spend some money. Charismatic leader, put that in. I will put the loyalty card in. We're going to take the settler card out by getting a little bit more gold that way. -1. Yeah, okay. Check the quests. Okay, there's nothing that anything needs in terms of units. So we'll just kind of work on a build-up. That'll help. Portugal has another luxury, which means we now have positive loyalty. Okay, it's going to take a little while to recover, but that is now working. Also going to buy a granary in just to make sure we've got the housing to get the pop to push that. Perfect. Okay, that is looking much better. Excellent. More traders. Send them to my distant cities. Send them back to the capital. Get the production going and repeat, which means we can kind of focus now. Starting to get some theatre squares if we wanted. We'll do that after a granary just to keep the housing up, keep the population high. 2 envoys, we'll save them for as we discover more of the map. Actually, no, not the granary. Let's make the galley for the era score and the exploration. The trade routes continue. They are absolutely lovely. I'm keeping a couple of things in mind, but one of the ways of making tourism in large amounts is the Rainer trick. Forestry management is an ability that gives +1 appeal to all tiles adjacent to unimproved features. What is a feature? Floodplain, forest, rainforest. It is an incredibly powerful thing because if you surround a tile with forest, it gains insane appeal. There is also something else, the Golden Gate Bridge. The Golden Gate Bridge gives +4 appeal to all tiles in a city and 100% tourism from improvements, but it has to be built across coast and run straight between 2 land tiles. It's quite tricky, but looking at this, potentially we have a location because in this city, we could make quite a few national parks. I tend to put the national park symbol on the top tile, kind of helps you to see where it's gonna be, but that's 3 with Golden Gate Bridge. It's not perfect, but we'll keep an eye out for other candidates. We do want to keep that in mind. There's an island up to the north. Maybe we could make a Golden Gate up here. This one's more precarious though, because Vilnius is sort of in the way. Yeah, I know the 3. We'll keep an eye out for that. Don't need this card anymore. In goes isolationism whilst we work on the economy. There's the galley, a little bit of era score, and we can now go and explore. We need 9 era score for the heroic age. Governor-wise, it would be really good to get Pingala in to try and push through the culture tree, get some more great people. Setting up for later on is really good. So I'm going to pick up Pingala and let's start getting a little bit more loyalty in this city. Just switch it on, make everything nice and happy. Buy myself another market, make a trader, and instead of a theatre square, we're going to be making a wonder. Now, wonders are funny things because people build wonders for tourism, but they actually have surprisingly little tourism in them. Temple of Artemis is all camps and pastures within 4 tiles. I think I counted this out, and having it near the capital would be really good. We'll try it. 10 turns, doesn't matter. But that's welcome era score if we get it. It's just a really, really handy way of getting era score. That's the main thing. The tourism on wonders is negligible. 10 turns. Yeah, this is going to be tough. Okay, increases trade route capacity by 1. Trade routes to the city provide 2 gold to both cities. So we want people trading with the capital. So there it is. Extra trade route capacity. Best way I think to get the era score is to get the boosts. Each one of these Eurekas gives me an era score. All I need is 8. In theory, if I get Temple of Artemis, I need slightly less, but we'll work for 8. Iron mine, watermill. Watermill's possible. 2 galleys, that is possible as well. 3 mines, 2 sea resources. There is a lot of stuff we can do here. Okay, we'll do what we can. I think we can make this work. We will get 1 merchant before the end of the age. That's really good. That's 1 era score. There is production enough for the 2nd galley. Maybe the galley will explore and find something for us. Again, if Portugal found us, Portugal has met 2 other people. Not getting on with them very well. It has met them. Oh, that's a lot of extra gold. Okay, the honey sale may work well. 3 mines. We unlocked a horsey in it yet? No. I guess the Legion would be an option. Levying Vilnius, 160 gold. That would give us an era score. We'll kind of keep that in mind. Well, Vilnius is about to get seized as well. That's no fun. Yes, we should do that now. There we go. Mercenaries boosted. That is 1 era score. That's nice. Let's get that watermill. Yes, I could save gold and buy a great person like Imhotep, for instance, would be quite useful, but I don't think that is the play. Go for feudalism. There's another commercial hub. Finished. I think I need a little bit more science. Pingala, researcher. Make it so. That's about 25% extra science. That gets me engineering a little quicker, but not quite quickly enough. Nor does it get me iron working, because I don't have the iron mine. And the Temple of Artemis was built from under me with 3 turns left. So that's not good. That's I'm putting a lot of gambling on that working. Yeah, I am trying to think how best we do this. This is an interesting question. You know, the thing I love about these guides sometimes is that clearly the play falls down, but this is why the culture guide's going to be so good on this map. This is not an easy game. This is a typical deity game that all goes wrong, and I'm still going to be able to pull it off. So yeah, I can't think of a reasonable way to get the golden age. We're going to have to settle with normal, which is really annoying. If we'd planned this a little bit earlier, maybe we could have got Legion. I think Legion would have been the play. 5 turns, I could 1 turn. Yeah, no, the campus is just not enough. It's fine. We're going to start doing what I think we should have done a little while ago. Start building the theater squares. So in the production starts to go. You can see we're starting the market there, but nope. There you go. Buy the market and get the trader. We've got a few more traders all coming in now. And then some production into builders. I don't want to finish any of the builders until I get serfdom. We want to line as many up as we can. These warriors that I took from Vilnius, by the way, I'm just leaving over on this little peninsula, stopping barbarians spawning. It's just a nice thing to be able to do with them. There's a few things we could do, like obviously the galleys, the watermill, the 3 mines, but I just can't get enough era score. It's just not quite playing out for me. Don't worry, it happens. Sometimes this stuff happens. That's absolutely fine. Try and get the farms boost instead. Now remember, these internal routes will get a little bit worse, but I still think they are worth it. So capital will start to get a bit of production hit. Ironically, if that wonder had finished, I think we would have got the golden age. Hey, it all sets it up for a better late game. That's what you got to remember. Tell you what, before we get too many more techs, as the cities are getting to 4 population, just gonna start putting down some theater squares to lock in the production. But as mentioned, builders, we're gonna leave all of them on 1 turn. The merchant is gonna roll over before the end of the age, which is fantastic, and you can see the medieval era writers are there. So all of the writers were claimed. Okay, admittedly, I didn't get them, but I don't need to. This merchant gets a duplicate of a luxury. I'm actually gonna keep them until we have another continent, and then I'll be able to find something a little bit better for myself, something that I don't already have. Still the same continent, little island down south. We need to leave the landmass and find land, because as you can see, this continent is pretty cramped. There's a lot of land out there. We just need to find it. And as mentioned, as soon as we get to 1 turn on the builder, we stop and we build something else. A granary will do nicely in the capital. The more population we have, the more production, because this is plains. The more towers we're working, the more of these little +1s we pick up. It's handy. Mathematics boosted. 1 turn. It's so painfully close. That's the thing. 3 era score is all we would need. And we've almost unlocked the bath as well. Never mind. So unless we find like 3 new people this turn with the boat, no, strangely enough, we didn't. Oh, this is burnt down. Some population lost in Antium, but that will regrow into something spectacular. I like that. Again, builder, stop it. We don't need you right now. No. Keep these theater squares appearing. Remember, theater square, every city. Commercial hub, every city. There's literally nothing we can do right now. Normal age will do absolutely fine as more of my land burns down. Don't worry about it. I'm sure it's perfectly fine. Normal. Yeah, okay, fine. This time we're going to go for pen, brush, and voice, because we're going to be building a lot of amphitheaters. And inspirations we should get. Speaking of, was that 6 farms? There you go. 6 farms. We can build the bath now. My goodness, my lands, they need a good bath. Start locking that in as many of these cities as is possible. Again, just to make sure the cost doesn't get any worse. Now we head towards apprenticeship or shipbuilding in order to try and explore off the continent. I don't think I desperately need that. Voting to Congress, nothing here really particularly matters. We're going to go for cultural city-state because we're likely to send a trade route there, and we'll go for ranged because it helps us to defend against anyone attacking. Melee, cultural, okay, that's fine, but we're not going for a diplomatic victory. That does not matter. Feudalism, immediately put serfdom in the government. That doesn't come out for a little while. And all of these 1-turn builders, these all need to finish. Gonna have a lot of charges. That's going to help us to grow very, very quickly. 3 mines, we should be able to get that pretty fast as well. Keep collecting governors and head towards guilds, seeing as we've got so many commercial hubs. Not many of them have actual adjacencies, but some of them do. Here they are. Lots of builders. Yep, just get everything improved now as quick as we can. That is the same continent. It's desert and it's full of barbarians. I wish I'd never found it. Last great merchant of the classical era. Fantastic. We're the only person getting great merchant points, which means we currently have a bit of monopoly on them, which is lovely. We can use this to scoop up tiles, probably from a city that could work them that the Aztecs are going to get. So we'll go for these tiles. This is Portugal on a different continent. Good to know. And I'm going to treat myself to the aforementioned amphitheater. Now, this means I have space for great works of writing, and I know that Portugal owns 2 of them, or at least has the capacity for 2 of them. He's selling selling them for 220 gold, which is just less than a monument, and it's still 2 culture. So I'm going to scoop those up as quickly as I can. There's the bath. The bath was no accident. I turned on the taps and put in the bubble bath. My capital is not going to get a theatre square yet. It's going to get an industrial zone because it will help it to make more settlers, which is something we're going to be doing very, very soon. Here you go. 205 gold. It's even cheaper than I thought it was. Excellent. 2 culture. It's like a spare monument, and monuments are always something you want to buy to power you through the culture tree as soon as you can. Vilnius has been taken from me, which isn't ideal. We could get Samarkand instead, which would reveal some more of the map over in this direction. So we'll use the envoys there. Oh, it doesn't, because we've been at war with them previously. There is a bug in the game still where you don't get to see the map. Never mind. It was a good idea while it lasted. John Curtin has arrived. Okay, interesting. He's not a particularly cultural boy, but, you know, he might be. Does he like a source of horse? Ah, he doesn't, alas. He does have books for 173 gold, though. That's a good deal. Okay, we'll buy all those. 3 books, 6 culture per turn. Very good indeed. We'll send him the delegation, give him open borders. Hopefully that will be fine. So with recorded history, we have another governor, and we're going to change our government over just a little bit. Firstly, serfdom is going to take the place of urban planning. Colonization is going to come in instead. Settlers are the name of the game. That's what we're going to try to produce more of. And to help that, Magnus has provision. Settlers trained in the capital no longer reduce population. Apprenticeship gives all of my mines 1 production, and I've made quite a few of these just to really boost the production up a nice chunk, which is lovely. So, you know, rather than making things like amphitheaters, we're going to use the production to make settlers instead. Seeing as we're getting a 15% bonus on these, we might as well run these as much as possible. So we're going to make 1, 2, 3, 4, and then the industrial zone is going to go into the capital just to push that even further. Then I think it is worth going for shipbuilding, just allowing our units to embark onto different continents. Kabul, a new city-state just below Australia. Good to meet then. Rapa Nui, another cultural city-state. We want to throw a few envoys there if we're going to be spamming cultural buildings. That's the plan anyway. Okay, now we'll just start to settle. If we can put pressure on this 5 population city just by building up around it, we will. My gold per turn has gone down a little bit now because the relic gold that I took from selling the relic to the Aztecs has disappeared, but no matter. On turn 100, yeah, considering the early war, this is not a bad setup. The main thing is that all of the writers from the classical era got taken. That is so important. Very happy to see that. Very happy to see that indeed. Shipbuilding is good, but we're going to now pick up masonry into construction so I can get some lumber mills. Those worth a lot of production on tiles that I might not necessarily want to replace. You can see I'm just starting to build farm triangles as well. Builders. It's all about builders. Make sure your builders have improved every tile you're working. If you're working an unimproved tile, you're leaving resources on the table. Spend a little bit of gold there. There you go. There is the quarry that I've been after for some time. Settler, 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 settler. And as soon as this industrial zone is finished, another settler will be on the way. 3 era score from a lovely industrial zone, pushing my capital to 34 production. We'll start making settlers from here as well. Increases trade route capacity by 1. Trade routes to city-states now give faith. The trade route capacity is what we're after here. We're kind of running a little bit of excess at the moment, but that's because we're starting to think about settling. We want all of the trade routes going into the capital. Ideally, it's the plan anyway. And here we go. The settling resumes with 5 charge builders that specifically can appear and chop out population. Construction. Construction means lumber mills, which can turn production from otherwise unproductive areas. Now you may notice, Ursa, why are you not building harbors anywhere? Aren't harbors better? Yes, technically they are in terms of the areas we're looking at, but I have totally got merchants in mind. This is the thing we're looking towards. Modern era, atomic era. This is what we have over the AI. We can look good things in the eye and say, no, we don't need them. We can do without. We can survive for now. Anyway, 1 envoy into Rapa Nui, doubles up, just a little bit more culture, and oh yeah, that's a 2-5 tile. That's a good tile. We like that tile. That is what we call a positive tile. 4 food, 4 production, 4 gold. Not a bad route. That really helps the city to grow. Maybe there's a Golden Gate opportunity over here. Does that work? It does if it's on this tile. I got to explore this island more. This could be an amazing island for Golden Gate. There's a bit of desert here, which isn't ideal, but we'll keep this one one in mind. This is worth checking in here and having a look at the tourism. And you can see Portugal is on, very good, 69 domestic tourists. What does that mean? Well, it means because they have 101 culture per turn, they are generating pretty much exactly 1 tourist per turn. This is the number of tourists that I've got to accumulate if I want to win. However, it's 1,600 tourism to get a tourist. It's a lot more. The maths is complicated because you end up getting tourists from everyone at the same time. Essentially, it's about 2.17 times the culture of the leader is what you need to get to equal their culture output. So with 101 culture, my tourism would need to be about 218, 219 in order to just hold on. Clearly, it's not that at the moment. So this is this strange early game for any culture victory where you can't really do anything. You're building, you're building, you're building, and eventually you'll swing out and you'll earn your tourism. But it's not until later. We like a nice tundra settle. Cheeky +1 era score never goes amiss. And I had a trade route prepared for this very occasion. We've unlocked alliances. Do I want alliances? I very much do. Portugal is trading with me, which means depending on the alliance I pick, we can get more resources. And I think science per turn is my weakness. So I'm going to go for a research alliance, which means I now get science on these routes. The Aztec, I'm going to go for a military alliance, seeing as they're so aggressive. If anybody attacks us, well, I now have extra combat strength. Our yields have almost caught up with the Aztec, by the way, which is very much unexpected. That's a lovely thing. Now, my capital is going to build a diplomatic quarter. I don't really want to ruin any of these good tiles. I might have to ruin this one. That will reduce the food by, quite a considerable amount. If I did that, my capital would stop growing. The reason I want to put a diplomatic quarter next to the capital or next to the city center is that you get a spare envoy, but it's not necessary. A diplomatic quarter would give me 1 food and 1 production on all trade routes. The theater square would give me the food, just half of it. All right, let's build that first. I will regret not building it. I always do. Get the diplomatic quarter later. Medieval fairs. I'm going to put in Merchant Confederation in order to get a little bit more gold per turn. Why am I saving up my gold per turn? I would quite like to buy Imhotep for a large chunk of gold. If I time this perfectly, I can get a considerably large amount of wonders, which would be absolutely lovely. Now, Pingala gets me a little bit of extra culture. We have a settler that's going to make their way over there. This settler, I don't know where I want to send you. This barbarian island is very tempting to send a settler to their doom, but I don't think it's going to really do anything. Maybe we'll go over to here. It's not a bad location. No housing in this city at all, but don't worry, we have a plan for it. We're choosing to just fall back on the Golden Gate plan here. This is quite a nice space for it, or at least we can get a few lovely national parks. That would be pretty good. This should give me harbors. Almost gives me harbors. Very close. I'd like to build the harbor in Kume, somewhere that a lot of wonders could be built, like potentially there. 1, 2, 3, 4 possible wonders. Otherwise, the grind continues. 9 cities now. What a nice little expansion. I'm sure you can agree. I'm gonna get a little bit greedy here. Oh no, I don't need to. The merchant is going to save me next turn. We're going to get Piero de Bardi, which gives me an envoy. Most importantly, 200 gold. To prepare for this, just going to check how many settlers are we still making? 1. All right, well, we'll use you quickly, get that gold, and then purchase Imhotep. We're pretty much guaranteed a golden age now. Fantastic. Also going to go 1, 2, grab both of these city-states. I also want this source of iron. Now we're going to go for Merchant Republic. 10% extra gold is good, but 15% production towards districts really economically helps just to put lots of theater squares out. We want to put lots of commercial hubs out, lots of baths. It's a lot of very valuable stuff there. How many cities are we trying to go for, by the way? About 20. 20 is about right. After these 1, 2, 3 settlers go down, we will have 12. So it's starting to look pretty good, but we'll keep the pressure on. Now, Imhotep can instantly build any wonder from the classical or ancient era. Colossus, Colosseum, Mausoleum, Great Lighthouse, Petra, all of these are really good options. Kind of keep an eye out. That's why I'm trying to build a harbor. I'd like Mausoleum. Australia is a friend. Excellent stuff. Keep these alliances going for as long as we can get away with them, really. The 10th city. Now we're starting to get into the territory where you think maybe the harbors are a better idea. Seeing as this one is predominantly navally focused, we will probably do that. I'm just waiting until next turn. We have a bit of a discount on harbors at the moment because we haven't built any, and I'd like that discount to go into Sanikush before we put it anywhere else. Lincoln with some luxuries. Honor to meet you. Would you like some horses? You wouldn't. Nobody ever wants my horses. That's a shame. He has 7 cities. We've got Curtin on 8, Jiao on 7, Montezuma on 6. So my 10's looking pretty decent. Australia's just built an art museum. That's good. We can see a few people are going very heavy on artworks and on sources of writing. There's Machiavelli. That means Renaissance era. All of the medieval writers have been taken. This, again, it's really good. Doesn't feel like it should be good, but it is really good news for us. Okay, 7 population. Let's just quickly lock that in like so. Okay, there's the production boost. You can see the, yeah, there we go. Harbors are no longer cheaper. So it was worth locking that in. Aha. And the Aztecs have tried to stop me there and succeeded, but I just wanted to settle on this coast so I could send boats out in the other direction. And there you go. Sprawling Empire. Golden Age has been achieved. It's all good. We'll get the trader back. I think it's just really good. It gives us access to another coast to go and explore in case there are any good islands. It's all about maneuverability, all about sending trade routes. We need to up our tourism later in the game with trade routes. Buttress has unlocked the dam, which we're going to build a few of those. Now we're going to go for machinery to unlock Kilwa, which is probably going to be built, but that's fine. We will make do. Another culture city-state. Okay, we've got fairly lucky on these. It keeps the culture number nice and high. Another round of voting. We don't really mind. I'll just put random votes, but I would actually love an extra trade route. So I'll vote for myself twice on that and hope that the deadlock goes through. Yeah, there we go. We've got another trade route. Okay, that is genuinely quite helpful. Fantastic. Okay, we've got some more commercial hubs running now. 1, 2, 3, 4 more of them, and then a harbor. That'll up the number of trade routes. There's another one over here. I should have remembered that. More land over to the left than I remember. Oh, yeah, perfect. This continent's big. I think the Aztecs just hogged it. You will note, though, that considering we're going for a cultural victory, we've done very little in the way of accumulating tourism. It's still so early in the game. We are just focusing on nothing but empire improvement. That's all we need to do. We don't need to worry about too much more. Korea. If we can make an alliance with Korea, we could actually explore most of the world right here and now, which would be really cool because I think Korea is, yep, right in the middle of this continent. As we unlock exploration, that's mighty convenient. The Merchant Republic goes in. I'm going to put veterancy in because we are making some harbors. The settler card is no longer needed. Builders is always needed, as is trade route gold. Although I'm going to put in possibly Corvée. I'm not sure right now. Diplomatic League. We'll start off with Republican Legacy because I think, given how much trade I can do with Korea, yeah, I think they're going to be good friends. So we've got delegation and open borders, and I've bought all of the luxuries. Okay, happy cities, roughly. You'll like the fact that I have a lot of friendships, so that is going to be useful. I just hope that will be enough. Auckland gives production for coastal tiles. That is pretty useful if we were going for more of a harbor-based game, which at the moment we are not. He's got 170 culture per turn. Are you the one making all the artist points? Are you in Australia? Very interesting. I'm going to try and start building Kilwa. Kilwa will give me a lot of extra culture if I can keep a lot of culture city-state suzerains, which is not guaranteed, but could be possible. People are still selling books. A little bit more expensive than monuments. Do I build them or do I buy them now? And I think at the moment we've got to focus on economy. We have a few commercial hubs finishing in the next few turns. I'll save my gold for the markets. Now we're going to unlock banking because the banks, well, they'll make more merchant points and a lot more gold. Who's this? This is Portugal. You're over here as well. Interesting. Poland, you have some luxuries. Again, we just want to be nice with everyone. So sending delegation the first turn, making every trade we can. Poland has an alliance. Come on, Korea. You're the only one I need. Ah, free trader. Amazing. We are still sending these to all of our new settlements, making sure we've got some good roads, and the harbor's done. So Republican Legacy, gonna keep you in for a second. Corvé's gonna go instead of caravassaries, hopefully, unless I've missed something. Yep, Mausoleum is going to be placed and instantaneously built. 1 science, faith, and culture on coast tiles, but engineers have an extra charge. This sets me up nicely. 5 food, 4 production. Good internal route. You can just see it halved the amount of time that we needed to get that commercial hub going. It just really helps at the beginning. Korea, I'm gonna bribe. A 50 gold and 7 diplomatic favor. Favorable deal sent to them. They now positively like me. Let's see if this works. I just want to be allied to Korea. That would be so useful. Ostia, that's 12 settlements. Markets. As soon as they're built, buy them. This is good though. The AI is posting some really good culture numbers, so we're gonna have to put in some decent tactics to make this work. This is good. This is what we wanted to see. Okay, there is Colossus, which amongst other things, produces another trade route, gives another trade route capacity. Perfect. All of our routes are still going back to the capital. Not only is there a beautiful internal road network, but the production going on these internal trade routes is delicious. There's another market. Get the markets done. Oh, Pingala, get grants in. Let's have a few more great people points, which will help us with, amongst other things, merchants, amphitheaters, bit of everything really. I'm going to put town charters in now. It's actually worse than caravassaries. Ah, that's disappointing. That's disappointing. All right, I'll stick the other one in for now. Ah, the dam is finished, which means the adjacency now. Yep, pretty good. 40 production in the capital. So as we check in after a very normal age, suddenly we've shot to 12 cities. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 commercial hubs and 2 harbors. And we're starting to build theater squares everywhere. This is the point of the game where slowly but surely we start to ramp up. It's going to take some time. Going to have to be just a little bit patient, but we will get there. Now, I'm just making a couple of units, horsemen, sending over warriors. I'm going to try and get myself a city on this continent. If I can get myself into a good Golden Gate spot, this will be a city that can make me 7, maybe 800 tourism, if I'm lucky. We'll see. See how it goes. Weirder stuff has happened. We're now in the nice position where all of my cities have trade routes going into Rome, which means we're going to start sending trade routes out. Visselbanken comes into play. Visselbanken gives 2 food and production in both cities if I send a trade route to an ally, and it also starts to increase tourism for later in the game. So we're going to focus on sending some routes out. I have a particularly cool thing with Rome because I have trade posts in all of my cities. I can send all of my trades from Rome. So instead of making horsemen, I'm going to change my mind again. This is a feature of my play. I like to change my mind repeatedly, infuriatingly, but I'm going to start to trade with people like Aztec, Australia, Portugal, all of my allies. Now here's the thing. We are starting now to build up our writer, artist, and musician points. I'm not fussed about earning these myself at the moment. Once we go into, I'd say late Renaissance, early industrial era, we'll start to really focus on making sure that we earn our own. But for now, best thing we can do is buy other people's great works. Why? Well, the computer has a mechanic. Once we have earned 50% of the tourists we need, or we start to win within about 50 turns, there's kind of 2 thresholds the AI looks at. The AI will stop trading great works with us. It'll say, no, player, you've got too much tourism. I'm not aiding and abetting this victory. I'm going to stand back. I'm going to stop you doing this, which, you know, is a totally reasonable thing to do. So the thing is, the writers, artists, and musicians that you earn yourself, you kind of want to save them. Save them for the end of the game. Build your tourism first, using your gold, to buy everyone else's, especially if there are great works of writing for 139 gold. That is ridiculously cheap. Yeah, just take your fill in these early stages of the game. It's like a cheaper version of a monument. It's brilliant. Finally, we have our golden age. It's going to be interesting to see what the Aztecs are looking at here. Oh, they didn't go golden with it. They went normal, which means we should be able to seize this city this age from loyalty, I think. What golden age are we going to do? Most of our trade routes are internal, and most of the places we can settle are on our own continent. So options are a little bit tricky. I think monumentality is the play here, so I can use some of my faith to make more builders and settlers. Exodus would be good if I needed a religion and there was still one available, which isn't the case. Reformer coinage, I am going to start trading now abroad. So it would start to give me gold, but most of my routes are internal. Yeah, monumentality works for now. Great lighthouse, I just saved that for this age to make sure we get the era score in this age. Thanks, Imhotep. That was pretty useful. Now, Estadio is next. Should have a pretty good shot at making Estadio. I have a Pingala city that now has an industrial zone. We're going to make the amphitheater and the workshop in that city, get them both working nicely. And a market, more merchant points, more traders. You can see we're going to get the last medieval era merchant, and then we'll move on to Renaissance. Lovely. I would quite like Auckland to get a little bit more production. So Diplomatic League goes in. We'll put Visselbanken in a second. Craftsman goes in for the production. And now you can see we're going to start making lovely trade routes. This one's a good one to our ally. 13 gold per turn, and the food and production will appear in a second. Next up, the humanism. We want to get art museums. They have amazing writing and artist points per turn, but also we get the frescoes card, which which means we can start burning through a lot of artist points per turn if we would want, which we kind of do. As I say, we don't mind if other people get the artists. I just would quite like to have a little bit of input on it. Okay, Creed did make friendship, which means we can get the cultural alliance and reveal the map because he will show us everything that he has explored, including the last player. Okay, there is everyone. We've circumnavigated the globe, and you can see this continental landmass is pretty big. Lincoln's in the middle of it. We've got Arabia down to the south, and Cree is over here doing pretty well, actually. But it also reveals there's a lot of land over to the north, on islands down here. There's some space down on this continent, which we probably do want to utilize. Just having a look to see if there are any more really cool Golden Gate areas, but I think we've actually accidentally found the best one. There's loads of land available. Okay, we probably want to start settling. We're on 12 cities. I wanted to get to about 20. Now, 1, 2 for Auckland. This gives me a bit more production and makes all of my coastal tiles better in case I want to go and settle the islands, which I do. We also know there is Mogadishu and Muscat, 2 new city-states that are both economic. That's really cool. We like a good economic city-state because they make all of our markets give more gold. In fact, we've got about 10 markets at the moment, so that's 20 gold for each one. We really want to put envoys in those as soon as we can. Still buying more markets. I'm placing industrial zones. I'm putting these down instead of the theatre squares to start with because the production in them when you've got a nice adjacency will help then to build the other stuff. It sort of makes sense in my head. You're making production earlier so that you can use more production to make more things. There's man-at-arms on this island, which is not ideal. I'm going to try approaching it from the north. We'll see how many barbarians there are. I think, yeah, we need to settle within 3 tiles of Golden Gate, but I think we should find a way. Expect I'll need another settler on the coast so that I can send trade routes to and from it. Yeah, you know what? Actually, I might go and settle up here on this desert and leave this area as best I can. Aid request. We might as well join in. There's no benefit to doing this particularly, but it really does help the relationship of some civs, which is kind of a good thing. And you can see we've got friendships of everyone except from Lincoln. Lincoln is not convinced about what I've got going on. I kind of respect that. We'll work on him as we go. Okay, the Renaissance era merchants. We're starting to get into some interesting ones now. In this age, we're going to get a free bank that has slots for great works of writing. We'll come back to that. 1 extra trade route and 5 envoys are available. Very, very good. We'll hang on to this. In order to utilize monumentality as best as possible, I'm going to get 1 governor in to Antium. Liang. Liang is really good because all builders gain 1 charge, which means I can start printing builders with 6 build charges in this city, which is absolutely wonderful. I can get Samarkand back on side with a trade route, which will then make Visselbanken work. Brilliant. Look at this. As the food builds up, we are, hopefully going to steal this city. That would be an amazing little turnaround and a huge shift in the power of this continent. I approve. I approve very much of this. We've just made 2 more amphitheaters, so over the next couple of turns, we'll keep an eye out for more great works that we can obtain, buy, steal, whatever you want to call it. Oh, there's a 3 unit over there. Lovely meteor site. Fantastic. So my 13th city is one on a new landmass. This is going to serve as a bit of a gateway to send trade routes round and down to my Golden Gate metropolis. Also means I have access to another luxury, which is lovely. And I'm going to use monumentality to buy a trader and send it back to Rome. You can see Rome is having some great fun right now, sending some lovely trade routes. That's going to go through Golden Gate. I love it. Send a trade route to everyone, please. You got to think about great works of writing like monuments. They're about 240 gold, sometimes a tiny bit more expensive, but just keep buying them in. They add up, and as you can see, it's taken some time, but we now are over 100 culture. Very slow, but remember, culture doesn't really win you a tourism victory. It helps, but it doesn't win it for you. I'm going to build a harbor just to enable better transport between the 2 continents. And we have banking. Banking has unlocked, as you might expect, banks, which are currently worth 9 gold per turn, but they will be worth more than that, 13, 17 gold per turn each, which is pretty nice. So we want to make sure we work that. Our trade routes to Portugal are definitely worth it because we have a science alliance, a research alliance. They're gaining 3 science per route, which is very nice indeed. I do want to utilize that as best we can. And as you can see, 5 food, 4 production, production, it still makes sense just to help these cities grow. Just going to take some time on my capital now. Workshop, amphitheater, bank. Get the important stuff in before the next round of settling. Eventually, we will want to go to printing because we want double tourism from great works of writing. But right now, we don't have a huge amount. It's not overly worth it. Instead, we're going to unlock military engineering to work out where NITA is. And then we're going to start heading towards the top of the tree. Cartography, so we can explore around the world. And then into industrialization, so that we can get factories and power plants. Both of those will massively, massively help the production of my empire as they sort of spread around everywhere. Now, Auckland has been thieved, and I just lost 3 turns on Kilwa because of it. That's how much we were working. Oh, we do want Auckland back. Auckland is incredibly useful. Like, I knew it was useful, but I didn't realize it was quite that. Now, I would love to put invention in, which would give me a significant chunk of great people points towards engineers. We do have 1 workshop finished, which means invention would be worth 4 points and then an extra 2, so 6 points per turn. That would take me from 6 to 12. Very good. But at the moment, you can see a lot of my cities are on +3 amenities, which means they're getting 10% extra yields, and that is mainly because of Republican Legacy. If I take that card out right now, then I'm not going to get any benefits, so we're going to leave it in. This'll Bankum will do instead. It actually does help my capital substantially. It'll cause it to grow, get to 13 population, and mean that we can put down an extra district. Costs a little bit of gold and iron. I could get a legion. Oh, now this is interesting. How much iron is a legion? 10. I want the era score. It's going to currently skip this and go to man at arms. It's because I've got 22 iron. Let's go in and I'm going to sell 4 iron to Portugal. Yeah, that's fine. Now it should just let me go to, no, unfortunately I've skipped too far. I thought that might let me go to legion instead. Oh no, I can still build a legion. Interesting. I thought I was being very clever then. Often this game will go, you want to be clever, do you? No. And then it'll just slap you down, and that's totally fair and reasonable. Oh, we continue along the path of glory. Triangular trade is really good for my trade routes. Enlightenment is handy if you want a little bit of extra happiness. Civil engineering lets you put farms on hills, gives you a better public works builder card, and colonialism into natural history gives you a ton of envoys, as well as unlocking the water park. A lot of it's good, but I am going to go into naval tradition very quickly to just get 1 envoy. That will give me Auckland back, which would be lovely. Still got serfdom and good. Liang is now in place. Builders with 6 charges. It is very cost effective to be making those. Auckland, get back in here. Thank you. All right, we've got a man at arms. My builder is just going to go and quickly get this knight, which means suddenly we've got significant military presence on this island. Settlers are 1,200 gold, 600 thafe. It's expensive. It's fine. We just got a recon unit. There's loads of tribal villages. That builder I left too far away. The knight's going to have to go and collect it. Let's head towards civil engineering. I think I like that better. I have my own writer. Again, remember, the writer is going to just sit in my empire and I'm not going to use them up until the point that the AI stops selling me great works. We do not want to use them too early. It is very, very tempting to use them early. Don't do it. Instead, as long as you can, buy other people's great sources of writing. Now, I could be focusing on the culture leader, which I'm accidentally doing, to bring down the culture per turn, because remember, the more culture somebody has, the more domestic tourists they obtain. For every 100 culture per turn, they gain a tourist. So buying the great works off Cree, quite handy there. It brings down their culture. We'll keep doing that as much as we can. There you go. We've got a full set again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 theatre squares is all we have at the moment. Don't worry, we will have more. 2 workshops means a boost for industrialization. Now, interestingly, with Rome itself, we can put another district down. I was avoiding putting things over farms because of the housing and food implications, but now we have trade routes and Visselbank and it's less important. So here goes a 1-turn diplomatic quarter, which gets me a 3 envoy. It produces a bunch of diplomatic favor every turn for all of the embassies I have, which is most civs have given me an embassy. It means that spies are worse on this city, and it improves all of my trade routes by 1 food and 1 production, which is worth about 11 food and 11 production total, which is a huge improvement. Another theatre square. We are just casually starting to build these now. Alliances are expiring. Make sure you renew these. The idea is you want to keep every single player simultaneously peaceful. If you're going for a culture victory, you don't want to fight anyone. We saw how much the Aztec War at the beginning of the game really did annoy and frustrate us. We don't want that. Trade routes are substantially better now. 6 food, 5 production, beautiful stuff. And we can see the full island now. I need a formation that puts as many national parks down on this island as possible, whilst remaining 3 tiles away. At the very minimum, I think I can put down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Hey, that is amazing. This is the project. This is Project Gamma Delta Red Bridge. In order to make this work, we need to make sure that we start to build our science per turn up a little bit, which is very much something we have not worked on thus far. We want to make sure that we hit something like combustion relatively soon. So, looking back at our tracker, once we have theatre squares, commercial hubs, and industrial zones in as many cities as possible, then we start to go the campuses. It's kind of like a mid to late game inflection, but that's where we want to be going. Cartography is really good. We're now going to go military tactics, mass production, square rigging, industrialization. Now let's farm envoys a little bit. Colonialism, it should be very pleasant for us. And triangular trade is worth a decent chunk more gold per turn, which is lovely. Republican legacy is not worth a huge amount for us anymore because our cities are barely happy. So we're going to put invention in just for a few turns to guarantee that we get a Estadio. Here's Jacob, 200 gold and 2 envoys is brilliant. And I'm going to treat myself to a Estadio. I don't want to miss out. There's a chance Cree might buy him. So we'll just get that quickly. Now we're on to Renaissance on both. I will take the gold and the envoys, saving my envoys for when I can flip the double envoy card into the government. Muscat, Mogadishu, and Caguana all need an envoy. We're finishing banks. Oh, the banks being finished is a fantastic thing. I'm also now starting to build some museums. Just amazing. And amphitheater is finished. You know what time this is? It's purchasing great works from other people time. There you go. Still haven't put down any of my own. I have 11 great works of writing. It's just the start, but it makes a substantial difference. A great artist, the last one of the Renaissance age. Hey, I picked up one again. Not going to use him. Not for now. Other people's artists are more important to me. You know, I don't think Forbidden City has been taken. I was just having a look at this. We have enough charges to basically guarantee a wonder. So I was wondering whether or not Casa would be a good idea. Extra production, faith, and gold is nice. It doesn't really help me with a tourism victory directly, but it does give me 3 governors, and I mean I could get someone like Reina going pretty quickly. There are other good wonders that we might want to consider getting later in the game, like BioSphere. So yeah, I'm thinking maybe we just hold it for a second. Oh, another amphitheater. Lovely stuff. Better sell some more of our supplies so that we can afford some more great works. 13 of them now. Brilliant. You know, I actually am going to start moving away from these internal routes, seeing as we've now got Wisselbanken working so well. Trade routes to Lisbon work fantastically. Or to Braga, these give the extra science. So yeah, I'm going to start these up instead. It's a nice natural transition. Yeah, I've talked myself into Casa. It's next to a theatre square, which gives it adjacency, and it gives me the governors to make this work. I think that's a nice thing to do. Yeah, I like this. I like all of the extra gold we're going to start getting. We risk powering Lisbon up a little bit here, but the extra science will push me into a really nice place very quickly. Perfect. The city flips. We're going to get a load more loyalty pressure on it. It should flip to me, and there's Kilwa. 3 envoys when built, and we can get 15% boosts to yields if we can get 2 city-state suzerains of the same type. Now, currently I only have 1 production, but we can work on the culture fairly easily. I just need to save this a little bit. My alliance is expiring. We need to make sure these never expire, ever. I think I should be able to just leave this one alone, and it will flip to me naturally, so I don't need to invade it or anything. We'll just be nearby. All of my routes are now going to Lisbon. Oh, the gold per turn will start increasing substantially here. And we're still making great works of writing. This looks expensive, but this is a 4 culture, 4 tourism. And this is something that people often forget. When it comes to great writers, great artists, and great musicians, a few of them were added in DLC and patches afterwards. Those either have more great works than before, or they have more tourism. Rumi is one of them. So keep an eye out for great works that give 4 tourism and 4 culture rather than 2. They are literally twice as good. Perfect. Look at this. We're still pulling this together, and you can see our writer, artist, musician points are now starting to climb substantially. Colonialism. Okay, we need to start getting some city-states. Merchant Confederation is good, but I'm gonna put in Diplomatic League again. Invention, also good. I think I might leave it in just for now. Means we can get all of the engineers. Yeah. Alternatively, we could try and work some great artists, but we haven't got the museums for that just yet. yet. Yeah, we'll leave it like this for now. Maybe I could put the settler card in soon, but I don't think we need that either. Still building a bit of infrastructure. So city-states with 0 envoys. Let's just put these in and gain 2. It's a substantial extra amount of gold. Speaking of, we're going to go 1, 2 to give us the extra gold on the banks. And then we think, how are we going to utilize Kilwa? Can I get 15% extra gold or 15% extra culture? The answer is yes. Kagwana is at risk of being invaded and killed. It's right in the middle of things, but Vilnius and Kagwana, I'm just going to put the envoys in, get both of those, and Kilwa boosts my culture by 15%, giving me almost 200 per turn. Suddenly, I have more culture than anybody else. Considering my start, again, you've got to keep remembering that. We've done pretty well. Quite a few of my cities actually have 2 amenities here, which means I could, in theory, push them into being happy, which I do like. Oh, it's so close. For now, Raj is going to go in to give me a little bit of extra science, culture, faith, and gold, seeing as I have some city-state suzerains now. We'll save my envoys just for a bit. Just want to see what's going on. It is a World Congress. We'll go for cheaper unit production in case I need that sort of stuff. And Taoism was voted through last time. I'm saving my favor to sell it. That's the best thing to do with it. We'll see if that works in a second. Now, I don't actually own any cities on other continents at the moment, but I could. It's the 3 governor promotions that I'm really after. The capital is going to finish work on this bank. I really want to switch into settler production in a second, and I think that's what I'm going to do. We're going to utilize the production bonuses now in the capital and send some gold this way. 3 governors. We're going to pick up Reina for now. Put you over here. Actually, is that a good place for you? No, we don't want that city gaining land quicker. Put you over here. And we'll give you forestry management. That's the card we want. I'm going to get Magnus Industrialist when I get the power plants. That will increase the production there. We'll work on these in a second. Capital is going to get an archaeological museum. So art museums or archaeological museums? The problem is you kind of need a little bit of both. Art museums are good if you're getting lots of artists or if you can buy artists from other people. Now, we have a look. The AI is doing a pretty good job of buying these at the moment. Archaeologists, well, you want some of these as well. You want to maximize your tourism. So where do I pick? Generally speaking, what I would say is if a city has a lot of production, it's better to have an archaeological museum because then you can produce the archaeologist. If it's got low production, an art museum would be better. Now I'm going to get an archaeological museum in my capital because it gives me the boost to natural history. Overall, this is looking really good. Yeah, we've got a lot of banks finishing in a second. 430 gold per turn. Only 46 of that is coming from deals to the AI. Most of it is mine, and these city-states are significantly helping matters. But we've got art museums now finishing everywhere, which is beautiful. Do you remember what I said before? Now we look to pick up some campuses. Let's increase our science per turn, make sure that we unlock the science tree as quickly as possible. We've now got space for some art. We want to make sure that we are picking up other people's art before making our own, but we do also want to have a look at this. Is there a chance to theme? Now, what is theming? Theming is when you have 3 pieces of artwork in a museum that are the same type but have different painters, sculptors, or artists. For instance, I could go Michelangelo, Rublev, and Bosch, who all have religious artwork. Then it would be themed. So if I'm going to buy it, this is a particularly interesting piece. Can I get the 3 pieces of religious artwork? Yes, I could. I need just a little bit more gold to pull this one off. So again, just keep selling everything. We're going to go for the Michelangelo, a Rublev, and instead of buying another Rublev, we're going to buy a Bosch, which means 1, 2, 3, it's themed. It means we get double culture and double tourism. Excellent stuff. Now, the thing is, we don't want to rush the culture too quickly. I want to be able to get as much art, music, and writing from the AI as possible. Sounds a bit counterintuitive, but you want the culture to spike at the end. There's no point getting a silly amount of tourism early on before you're ready for it. As long as the AI has like 500 or maybe less culture per turn, you shouldn't have an issue at all. Actually, this bank has room for 2 great works, and in the long run, because this is my city with the government plaza in, I will be able to put 4 pieces of generic art or writing or music in this city. I'm going to eventually move Pingala to the capital, so this is where I would like to use it. Perfect. Again, more space. There are relics that I can buy, which is interesting, but there we go. There is Rumi. That's a really, really big piece of writing. I would like that first. Perfect. The amphitheaters are building up though. That's why having lots of gold is really good. We can ship it to my less productive cities and then immediately get the good stuff in. This is the worst engineer in the game. Poor Mimir. I'll take him because I have to. But yeah, Da Vinci, Filippo, both are better. No matter. We're starting to get more workshops now. That will help. Natural history means we can start building water parks, entertainment parks, and make a lot of happiness, which is fantastic. Let's go enlightenment. I'm amazed we haven't got civil engineering yet, but hopefully once we start building a couple of campuses and things, we should get that done. Just gonna, yeah, I think I'm gonna make a small change quickly. You want as many builders as you can get, but I'm gonna take this out briefly to put the settler card in. Triangular trade, colonization, Raj, Visselpanken. Maybe Raj isn't worth it, but there's nothing really better I want to put in right now. So we'll stick with that. We are settler dumping. We are currently on 13 cities. We're going to get 14 with this one in 2 turns, but mass settling needs to happen. So not only do we need to obviously claim our national park city, I need to get to a point where we start looking to get a trade route with everyone in the game. We get 25% extra tourism at the moment for a trade route. That will increase. Cree, America, Arabia, all on this continent. These are the ones we haven't got trade routes with at the moment. Actually, Poland is trading with us. So no, I'm trading with Poland. That's fine. So let's have a look. Could I trade with them if I wanted to? Cree? No. America? Yes. Via Antium. Via here. Interesting. I don't know where that would be. How do I get there? I guess maybe through Poland to Charleston. That is a strange one. Oh, no, Chicago. Ah, it's on the coast. Okay. Yep, that's good. I'm in Arabia. Nope. So we need something that's more in range down here. Arabia is on the coast. America's on the coast. Cree, not so much. I can't trade with Cree unless I have something on this continent. So I'm going to go and try and settle Cree. We have a cultural alliance with him, so I can settle over here without problem and send it straight to his capital. He will hate me doing this, but we have to ask ourselves the question, do we care? And the answer to that is no. That trading post should give us all the trade routes we need. Okay, so then it's just a case of finding good settles, places with good choppable resources and terrain, or places that are going to be in range of the factories I'm making. Well, this one's nice. Okay, the loyalty might be a problem, but that is a canal city that would let me trade through this sort of a little spit of land. Okay, we've got a few targets to start with. Trade routes are still going to Lisbon. Again, I worry that we're superpowering that one city, but I'm not worried enough that I'm going to stop. Civil engineering was boosted. Hopefully we'll get to the stage pretty soon where we'll have all of the pieces of great writing in the game. And again, I need to stress, not one of these have I made. I'm going to start picking up loads of great writers, but I'm saving them for later in the game. Saving them for the delicious part of the game when I can use them because the AI is no longer giving them to me. There we go. This, I think, is probably fair exchange for the early game war. There is a 7 population city that has just flung itself at me. What's it got? An encampment, a holy site, and a campus. An encampment is good because I would not have built myself one of these. A holy site will be really good late game for an amazing source of faith. Very tasty indeed. And then the campus is actually really useful because I am starting to build up my science now. Doesn't come with a monument, which is unfortunate because, you know, that's my whole thing, but I guess I didn't build it, so, you know, that checks out. We've got more space for art museums now. It's just worth having a check. What artists have been claimed? Is there another space for theming? Right now, there is no more space for theming, so I'm just going to leave it empty, wait for the next bunch of artists to be taken, and then start pilfering. Patience. That's what we're after here. Patience. Something I am infamously good at in these games. Ask anybody that watches my videos. I'm incredibly patient in all things. I can hold a plan across multiple turns and playthroughs. I never forget what I'm doing. Ever. Oh, well, we'll continue buying the writing. There's some extra. Oh, 4 strength. I like that. 4 strength for writing. I want to push my culture a little bit here. 1, 2, 3. This just puts another 4 culture in all of my museums. That's worth 20 more. But you can see we are now starting to take off and pull away in terms of culture per turn, which is lovely. It's also worth having a quick look every now and then to see what artifacts people have got. Has anybody been using archaeologists? Doesn't look like it. Looks like there's probably another 4 or 5 books on the market as well. Good to know. Good to know. And here you go. This is how the cities are shaping up. Every city, apart from the one I've just taken, has a trade hub. Most of them now have theatre squares, and we are starting to push the industrial zones and campuses. Having a quick look at the city overlap to see where would be a really good spot for a water park here. 12 cities in range of 1 water park. You know what? Yes, I will take it. And it's got adjacency to the theatre square as well, just to make things even better. I love it. I absolutely love it. That's great. Magnus now has vertical integration. I don't have factories yet. We're going to be getting them them in 4 turns. So keep an eye on this. We want to trade route with everyone in the game. Reckons the Morax can trade with America. Sure. We've got one more trader than we actually have room for at the moment, which is annoying because the World Congress fell away. That was giving us an extra one. Never mind. We'll work it out. Here is a merchant that gives 3 envoys at a city-state, which is helpful. I can use it to try and have a go at claiming Mogadishu, which is over there. Okay, it's not too far a trek. Make your way over in about 8 turns. Lovely. One more envoy into Auckland. Okay, the production is now ready to go once we get the power plants. There's the trade route. It's pretty rubbish, to be honest with you, but it starts setting them up. Just Cree and Arabia. And I think this city will do that. 28 great works. So far, none of them been put down by myself, but hey, we're playing the AI. This is how you beat Deity. Oh, look at these farms. Delicious. Industrialization. Okay, factories give 3 production to a city, but also another 3 if powered, and it spreads it to 6 tiles around. Then we've got coal power plants, which give us production based on the adjacency of the industrial zone itself. How much coal did we get? There's one there. There's one there. Okay, the 2 sources with builders right next door. That's awesome. And we'll try and look out for other sources as we go. Let's get these factories built. Sticking to the top of a tree, we're going to try and unlock the broadcast center as soon as we can to get space for great works of music. I realize that Jesuit education is in Morax, so I could in theory use faith to buy an art museum. I'm not going to, saving for a settler. Keep an eye out for random stuff like that. It's fun. If I'd thought about that, I would have given Curtin 1 gold and then I would have won 2 diplomatic points and 100 diplo favor. It's not the end of the world, but make sure you don't miss stuff like that. That would have been quite handy. Okay, we're still going to get Filippo, which is lovely, but Da Vinci's now going to give 3 culture on every single workshop twice and give me 2 boosts, which is really nice. I'm just going to buy this university because it's next to a mountain and I'm working on astronomy right now. This boosts electricity, perfect, and we just keep pushing on. I think we're going to look to unlock conservation as soon as we can. We lost a city-state, a cultural one, so I'm just going to claim it back quickly. I want the 15% extra culture. It's too big, a bonus, and a musician. Remember what I said? Not going to use it, not for now. Another bunch of culture, steel boosted. Steel is fun. The capital's going to treat itself to a factory, which puts a lot of pressure on the production of the cities around it, and we'll get the power plant as soon as we can. Production makes production. There's astronomy. 3-turn settlers still. I'm just making use of this for as long as we can. Santa Cruz makes an armada, is brilliantly fun. Edgar Allan Poe. Again, just gonna save him for a bit. Capital now has a coal power plant, which is worth 16 production, and also gives another 3 production to the cities around it. You can also put down another district. Remembering what we said before, I think the +4 campus probably works quite well now. There's the power. Capital's now on 118 production. It is a settler printing machine. Conservation means we can now build naturalists. We want to start making some faith per turn. We're not going to spend any more now. This is absolutely perfect. I was thinking about settling on this island. No, absolutely not. I've changed my mind. Funny that, isn't it? It's funny how you can just randomly, for no reason, change your mind on stuff like that. And we've finally arrived at Mogadishu. That's 3 envoys of this city-state. And we've got some more envoys. We can go 1, 2, claim Mogadishu, claim Samarkand, and boost our gold by 15% globally. Excellent. It's a really, really good thing. Now, as other factories get made around my capital, because we have Magnuson with vertical integration, we'll get more and more production, which is normally not how that works. Normally, you only get 1 copy of factory production, but we get more because we are amazing. Wait, Mogadishu's mine. Give it back. Just looking at it, I think I am going to claim some more religious art because the artist I'm going to get has 2 copies. So we need 4 pictures, ideally 4 of them. 2 from Rublev, 2 from Bosch. Now this is a fairly important mechanic. A great work of art, if it's not themed, gives 3 culture and 2 tourism. You can see Rublev has 3 culture, 2 tourism. Bosch has 3 culture, 2 tourism. And oh no, only 1 culture and tourism. That's because I already own a Rublev in this city. So it's worth 1 and 1. If I move it to this city, it's suddenly worth 3 and 2 again. So it's kind of worth spreading them out if you can. Now, as I say, I know that we're getting an artist with religious art very soon. That's why I'm not so worried about that. And there is a lovely engineer. We're not worried about rushing these engineers anymore, so I will take invention out now. But Filippo is going to be very useful for rushing wonders. I wonder what we're going to be rushing. We could rush it instead of radio for a bit of a laugh, but I think we're going to go radio because it's the classical way of making tourism. We'll work on it in a bit. I'm just going to wait for a second, though. We're making settlers still. Obviously, that's a really good thing, but I would like a builder with some more charges when I settle this city and when I settle this city. There's too many builder charges that are going to be lost, so I'm just going to hold off a turn. Industrial era. Okay, what's going to give me the most benefit? As I see a lot of people going into a golden age here, including Montezuma. That's unfortunate. I was going to try and steal another city from him. Not this time. Hicksong Dracones is really good if I'm settling on a different continent. Maybe one or two of them will be actually now. This is becoming increasingly a good idea. Maybe not this one. Reform coinage gives me a lot of extra gold, especially my trade routes to Lisbon, because it has so many districts. 1, 2, 3, 4 minimum. So that's 12 gold per trade route to Lisbon. Campuses give production. I just don't have enough of them. We're going to go reform coinage so that I can get more gold per turn. We're on 598. If I let that recalculate itself, that's 200 extra gold per turn. That was a good pick. It just massively speeds up what I can do. In fact, triangular trade can probably be taken out now as we do a bit of a shuffling. Republican legacy for the amenities. I'm going to put liberalism in for more amenities, and then public works to make some builders. That goes in, and you can see, yep, there are some happy cities, which is lovely. Project National Park has been settled, and as you can see, there is a road going back to the capital through the port of Morax Putali. Excellent. Now, this is a whole thing. This is going to be a giga city, a super city, you could say. And looking at it, there's going to be very, very little space for districts here, if any. Maybe do I even want districts in this city? I probably do. There's a tile I can't put a wood on. Very, very loosely, I could put a harbor down. I think that's probably what we'll work towards to start with. Reina, move over. We'll start to get some gold, and we're not going to be terraforming. Conservation means that we can plant woods down, and we want a wood tile on as many tiles as we can here. There are some antiquity sites we want to remove, but there needs to be woods everywhere we can. Now, but some of this, unfortunately, is floodplain. We can't put woods down on these, and there are a couple of resources that stop us as well. But things like rainforest, if we can cut that out, we absolutely should. More settling is happening, though. I think more harbors should be built to support this. Portugal's loyalty pressure is being rather annoying here. As I mentioned, I really, really would like to be able to put these canal cities in, but I can't fight this. We're going to keep moving the settler on and see if there's anywhere else we can settle. The consulate is going to give me a ton of resources in the capital, so let's get that in. And the chancery, I think, is going to be up next for a similar reason. Hang on, Raj. Diplomatic League is going to go in briefly because now I can go 1, 2, like so, and we're going to get a ton more production towards settlers. Excellent. If I do this, cool. I just had to renew my alliance with Portugal. It's worth 33 signs per turn at the moment. It's a pretty insanely large amount. I like it. Okay, Cree ended up settling where I was going to settle, but that means I believe we could probably just trade with them now because they're on the coast. Yeah, perfect. Look at the gold on these routes. 24.8 to Lisbon. We're just going to keep sending them over and over and over. And we are making more trade routes with more lighthouses. As we can see, it's just Cree at the moment and Arabia, but I believe my capital can make that route. It can. Perfect. We've bought all the infrastructure in the capital now. There's another university going down. We're about 10 techs behind the leader, but with 175 science, we are right on the cusp of being at the top. I mean, Portugal is getting a lot, and that's mainly from our trade routes, but we'll catch up in time. Don't worry about that. I just want to raise attention to the appeal in this city. It's pretty bad. We've got -1 on that floodplain, -3 on that floodplain, but we are 1 turn now from Reina being established, which means any feature provides +1 appeal to the tiles around it. That includes floodplain. So we're going to see quite the swing here. We'll look at appeal now. Yep, -1. Do you see how much more appeal that got? This has barely started. Don't you worry about this. This will get relatively ridiculous relatively quickly. Now, here is my 2 pieces of religious artwork. This one I will use. And we're going to see a bunch of artists be claimed now. Australia, Cree, we're both going to grab some. So we're going to have to free up some more spaces in art museums to make sure that we have the space to claim all of these artists. As I say, we're just jumping on this before our culture gets too high. The tourism is starting to increase now. We're in 3 figures, 110. It's a good time to do this. We still don't have curator. There's a few things we don't have. I'm just going to get puppeteer to make sure Vilnius is never taken taken from me. Tired Plonker, Tyrn Moon. Those are the two that need the art here. That's fine. Is the Thirst. Remember to keep claiming all the boosts you can. If you've got the units, you might as well use them. They may only be warriors, but they still count as cores. I can't keep the cities fully happy, but we could start to get frescoes now in order to just start generating more artist points. I'm going to do that and pop triangular trade back in just to really pick the gold income up. Lovely. Over 1,000 per turn now. 900 and something of that is mine. It's looking good. This is a piece of religious art that immediately is themed. The fun thing about getting 3 themed museums of the same type is that anytime you get a 4th artist who does the same thing, they will automatically be perfectly themed. Now, we'll have a quick look at this. We can see religious. There will be a little bit more. Portrait is still going to be very difficult to theme, but landscape might be an option now. Okay, good to know. Landscape's really good. Landscape tends to be double tourism because of the way that this game works stuff like that out. It's lovely. Okay, the little tiny island to the south has been settled. That's a different continent, more era score. Important thing is this close enough for a trade route to Arabia? I don't think it is. We're gonna have to think, still continue settling down this island chain. I want to get to this southern island. That would be really, really good. That's what we're gonna hopefully go to soon. This city is a long way away from anything, but it serves as a good trade post and has space for a theatre square, choppable resources, and some coal, all of which is a good thing. At this point, rather than opening with the trade route, I am going to open with the theatre square. I mean, that is floodable land, which is not ideal, but it'll have to do. Fortunately, Valletta isn't in this game. Valletta lets you use faith to pray seawalls in and is incredibly powerful because of it. Not today. As you can see, we really are making use of as much space as we've got, especially if we can put it around the cities I already have. Chop out as much of this stuff as we can. For late game, we will need some faith. So I'm going to build some holy sites. Don't need a lot of them, but some will help. Managed to make friends with the last person who disliked us. Okay, amazing. That is open borders and friendship with everyone on the map. Amazing stuff. That's another writer as well. Onto the modern era of James Joyce. And now you can see we're starting to dominate picking up writers. We're going to get 2 before the next person gets 1. To just keep working on this. In fact, actually, Qing, we could use a little bit of an increase on that one. Frescoes is doing well for us. Every time we get an amphitheater, we get more space for more great works, which is a lovely thing. Definitely focusing on whoever the tourism leader is. It's still Cree, so we'll buy books from them before anybody else. Just lowers their culture per turn, which means they have less domestic tourists. You know, they're 267, and here we go. We're now getting different governments. They have gone to a tier 3 government. Fascism. Governments and tourism is a mechanic that is often misunderstood. It comes in 2 parts. 2 questions. Firstly, are you a tier 3 or a tier 4 government? By that I mean, are you communist, democracy, fascist, or above? And the second question is your opponent? If you have a tier 3 government and your government full stop does not match the opponent's, you get minus 20% tourism. If your opponent has a tier 3 or 4 government and they don't match you, you get minus 20%. If both of you are tier 3 or 4 and you don't match, it's minus 40%. So often, unless you have a ton of tourism or the government cards you're using really, really push you towards getting benefit, taking a tier 3 government can often be a bad thing because you take a tourism penalty with everyone. People don't realize that. It's easier to get a tourism victory if you are in a tier 2 government. We'll keep an eye on Cree on that one. That is another themed museum. Brilliant. Now this is my 20th city. I did say this would be enough to win. It will be. I might make more depending on whether or not we think we need more explanation time, but this is looking really good. This is a good setup for everyone involved. Just taking a bit of a gamble here, and I'm gonna buy some more religious artwork because I think it's just gonna do me favors. Should be able to use another one soonish. Now what I'm gonna be doing is basically doing an economic build-up and then a drop down into tourism. What do I mean by that? I am gonna go for a tier 3 government. Democracy in this case, because I'm trading almost exclusively with allies. That will mean I have a tourism penalty. Then we use our economy to build our tourism number up and up and up and up, and then I drop back down to a tier 2 government. For instance, theocracy or monarchy. That will increase my tourism once I don't need the economic drive anymore. So we will take a bit of a tourism hit here, but it's a little too early to be worrying about that. At the moment, we need about 500 tourism per turn to stop Cree from from building a lead, and we're only on 137, so we're nowhere near that at that point. I would rather build the economy up and up and up and up. So we're going to go for democracy. Democracy's got a few good things, extra amenities in cities with 3 districts. I mean, if we look at it, quite a few of my cities have 3 districts, and we get a really, really good government full of useful policy slots for us, which is great. My capital is going to build a tier 2 government plaza building. Honestly, it doesn't really matter what we go for here. I'll go Grandmaster's Chapel because it gives me more options later if we do want to use war as a little bit of a tool. 5-year plan, that's a fun card. And we're going to start putting in useful things like the walls card. I've already got ideology. I forget. Really, I should have been building walls a little bit quicker than I have. No matter. Logistics is really handy. Move my units around my land a bit faster. So flight is an interesting tech because we receive tourism on improvements that generate culture. Again, it's worth bearing in mind this does not mean things like districts that give culture like theatre squares. No, this is improvements that give culture. Now, there are a couple. Rome doesn't have any as a default, but Caguana means you can build Bate improvements. These give culture. That would be converted into tourism. Rapa Nui is exactly the same. And actually, this is a really good one. This is a very spammable improvement. Finally, Granada on the Alcazar. If we were playing a civ like France, it has the chateau. Obviously, we'd come with a little bit of kit that would let us spam something like this, but flight normally gives you a little bit of tourism. Oh, banning neutralized governor. I hate that. And I would like less grievances. None of that's going to go through. Great work heist is more likely. That is genuinely worrying. I have a lot of great works that could be stolen here. Right, well, we'll keep an eye out for that. Radio. Oh, build a national park. We haven't done this yet. Been trying to save my faith a little bit, but we have the space to do this in Ravenna. So we'll buy the naturalist for 600 faith, and you can see we can build a national park. What is the criteria for national park? Well, firstly, you have to unlock them with conservation. Then you spend faith, 600 to start with, and it goes up by 100 each time. And you put them down in a diagonal of unimproved tiles that need to be charming or better. So currently the +3 is the weakest tile. That is charming, and these breathtaking tiles match up nicely. Oh, there are 2 landscapes on offer. Aha. This is exciting. Okay, we can theme like so. Landscape art is really good because it typically has 4 tourism rather than 2, which means you get more. And that's because there was more landscape art put in DLC than there was other types. You can see the 192 means it was DLC added. Excellent stuff. I'm debating whether or not I can make this -20 work. I think I can. I'm going to have to move Liang over to make this work. Let's just show you how you can ignore loyalty. We'll settle. You can see it says -22. We're not happy, and we have population issues that are causing loyalty, but there is wheat here, so we can harvest that. So now we've got 2 population. You can see already we've gone from -22 to -13. Now we move Liang over. That takes us to -5. Get another build up. We'll put down the theatre square, and yeah, I think this should be good. Here we go. We'll cut out the fish, and it's loyal. It's never as bad as you think it's going to be. We are finally making lighthouses. They are everywhere, and it is good. Now, a national park gives you tourism based on the total appeal of all of the towns added together. So we've got 3, 6, which is 9, 7 is 16, 7 is 23. So if we make this, designate the national park, bam. You can see the borders are outlined. We look at the tourism, 23. Perfect. Oh, you know what? I don't remember. I need to double check actually if I can still put woods down in the national park. I think I can. I might just have to reload that if I've mocked that up. I'm just putting it out there now. Let's have another amphitheater. We're still making them. What about it? Democracy gives trade routes to an ally or suzerain city-state for food and for production, and also gives us a -15% discount with gold. All of these things are fantastic. We're going to put new deal in to try and make all of my cities ecstatic, up the yields that way. Frescoes is still doing amazing stuff. Like triangular trade, I'd like Republican Legacy. Put Republican Legacy in for now. I think these cards combined should give me the amenities to make, okay, some cities happy. Not all of them, but some. Another lighthouse. Expertly done. Trade routes still increase. Next, we're going to go to professional sports. Estadio is one of the best wonders in the game because it makes everyone happy, gives you tons of culture, and the stadium makes you super happy as well. 2 envoys 500 gold. John Jacob Astor, welcome. John Spilsbury with the toys is okay. But as we remember, once the industrial era is done, it's the modern era. That's what we're excited towards. Sarah Breedlove with the first tourism increasing merchant. You can see we're getting minus 40% tourism with Cree, minus 20% with everybody else. That's not good, but the economic benefit of being democratic is absolutely massive. If we look at some of these trade routes, 6 food, 7 production, 6 food, 7 production, all the gold on top, it is absolutely brilliant. So musicians are being recruited now. Interesting. Okay, we're gonna keep an eye on those. You can see there's a lot more different pieces of all sorts of art on the market now. So once we start to look, we're just gonna have a quick peek and see, is there anything we can do that is possible to theme? Like these two, for instance. Yes, we can get some landscape in. Annoyingly, this is only recently deployed, which means it can only be moved once 10 turns have expired. So we're actually gonna need El Truand to be the place. Awkward that. It's fine. AI often only just puts things down and then you have to live with it. Let's see if I've made too much of a mistake. No, you can build woods in national parks. That's fine. That's good. Okay, we're going to just continue building over everything we can in this area. Okay, we're doing a similar thing here to see if we can get away with a settle, just to increase trade range and get more resources. Minus 22 doesn't sound good, but I think we can chop out enough population to make this one work. Liang, over you get. You know what you're doing on these. We'll start with a harbor. I realize I never actually named this city. Slipped by. Whoops. Korea has switched to democracy, which means we're now getting full tourism with them. Interesting. They decided to go for mine. Could mean the AI is trying to go for a tourism victory. They want to switch and match me. Yeah, odd. Anyway, radio. We unlock the seaside resort. If a tile is on the coast and it's flat and it has breathtaking appeal, you can put a seaside resort on and it just gives tourism equal to the appeal of the tile. It's pretty neat. Cristo Redentor makes them better. The broadcast center is the third building in the theater square. This only has the one music slot, but it generates artist points and musician points and is pretty good. So we're going to start to make these in pretty much every city with the capacity to. They are expensive. That is the only thing I would say. They are quite expensive. A lot of these core cities do have the production to get away with it. Yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 cities will be making them. Nope, take that back. 7, 8. Okay, we got a few places. That's good. We'll generate spaces for great musicians. Then we'll go from there. Minus 11, you say? Nope. I'm going to chop that out. Minus 6. I think we can capture this. Make it positive. Oh, trading with Arabia is so close. Never mind. Now that we have unlocked the seaside resort, I want to start showing other things that make tourism. We're going to go, obviously, to the Eiffel Tower. This gives 2 appeal to every tile in my empire. I want to rush that as soon as I can. We're going to make sure we have as many boosted techs as we can to get that. I need 2 forts in my territory. That's the only thing I haven't got. Okay, well, we can do that because I stole/borrowed something that can make military engineers. So we'll go and do that and we'll put them up in the snow. Aluminium, by the way, we've got 1, 2 sources of it. Great. Granada was defeated, which is bad. I was going to actually show some Alcazars and how to spam them, but yep, never mind. Instantly builds a factory and a workshop. Factories provide 2 production. Excellent. What we're looking for is a new industrial zone that's just been built and then we can immediately make it fantastic. So city up here would be cool. I would like to settle around here, but this desert island is absolutely terrible. I mean, it would give me the trade range probably to settle in such a way that I could trade with Arabia, but I'm just going to move my settler down and see if we can go down here. There's going to be a lot of barbarians, but this would be the trade route we're looking for. Look at the craziness of Rome trade routes. We go up this way, through the canal city, through this island city, and then to Poland. I like Rome. Rome's fun. Okay, we're actually unlikely to build any more industrial zones, so I'm going to make my capitals factories improve themselves. Professional sports. Let's try moving this stuff around. So you go to there, and then we pop down the art, and we're themed. Exciting. We've got another themed one there with El Greco. So 4 themed museums of religious art and 2 of landscapes. To be honest with you, we've only barely started. Cultural heritage has a good tourism policy card again. We're just not quite cranking it up yet. We're not ready. We're almost ready, but we're not ready. I realize we haven't actually unlocked forts yet. So I just made a air strip instead. Whoopsie. Close enough. Broadcast center complete. Now the National History Museum. 4 generic great work slots that can have absolutely anything in them. And we now have space for the first time to get some music in. So can we start buying this sort of stuff up before anybody realizes that it's too late? As we're building more and more woods, you can see the tourism of a national park is starting to increase. It was 23, now it's 33, and it's going to keep going up the more we build. This is what people forget. National parks are not equal. They are not all the same. You can make tiles go incredibly high. That is exactly what we're going to be doing today. We have more and more improvements, though, that increase tourism. Ski resorts, they can't be put next to each other, and they have to be put on mountains. So there's 2 spaces that we can put them down here. Problem with ski resorts is that you can't remove them. So if you ever want to put national parks over mountains, tough. But these are around the capital, and this is incredibly built up. There's no national parks going up around here. It would be impossible. So we might as well utilize the space. Still, more amphitheaters. Never let up. This is what you need to be doing for a tourism victory. As many as you can get your mitts on. In fact, we might be coming to the point where we've almost bought all of the great writers that have been produced outside of our empire. We may not be quite there, but we're almost there now. More themed art. Oh no, this last one was a portrait. Oh, whoops, I totally missed that. Okay, we'll readjust and reassess that one in a bit. So Kree is on 300 culture per turn. I'm on 250 tourism. He's still pulling away from me. The number I need to hit to win the game is increasing faster than my number because he's gaining 3 per turn and I'm gaining just under 2. But no matter. This is still the build-up phase. We haven't even pulled the trigger. The National History Museum, amongst other things, handles music. So that's what we're going to do. Make sure all of the music in the game so far is under our empire. Strategics are being used to fund this venture. I dig them up from the ground, I sell them, I trade it for artwork. It's a simple business, but it's an honest living. There you go. That is pretty much all of the music in the game so far. No one else has earned any. That won't last. Just calculating for later. I think I would like to put a neighborhood on a tile around here and then make sure we've got space for BioSphere, which needs to be on a river. This is a wonder that I very much would like to get. So I'm going to start the process for that by putting the neighborhood on that tile where the sheepies are. Lovely stuff. That means this will be a BioSphere tile. We'll keep an eye out for this. Printing, which I've been avoiding, doubles tourism from great works of writing. Currently, we're making 181 tourism from great works full stop. That number is going to go up substantially. And we're going to get curator as well, just up the tourism in my Pingala city. In fact, actually, this is probably a good time to move some stuff around. Antium is kind of in the middle of all of my factories, as is Sinakush. Sinakush has probably got more around it. So you, Magnus, move to there, and Pingala, move to the capital. This will double the tourism in the capital at the expense of a bit of production. Our city's kind of run out of stuff to do. The commercial hub, Theatre Square Industrial Zone are fully built out. Now is the time to start Theatre Square Festivaling. We're going to start putting the pressure on these projects. Every time one finishes, you get a big burst of writer, artist, and musician points. We want to make sure we are ready and able to utilize that as soon as it pops up. Aha, my settler has arrived and is about to get eaten by barbarians. Not quickly enough, however. There is the city, which, you know, is looking pretty shaky, but it has been founded. I can get a trader and send it to Arabia, thus finishing everything glorious that we would like to have done in this area. Fantastic. I'll buy a troop in with a little bit of faith, something nice. Crossbow will be fine. That'll deal with everything. Doesn't need to be more powerful than that. Republican legacy is starting to lose its influence. We only have 3 happy cities again, so we're going to switch over to symphonies to make a ton of musician points. You get 4 points per turn and an additional 4 for every broadcast center. I have an increasingly large amount of broadcast centers. Now, you'll notice we have things like heritage tourism, which would increase our tourism significantly. I'm not getting that just yet. I'm just making sure we didn't get too much tourism, although actually printings just gave us another 70 or 80 tourism. We're now on to 344. It's climbing quickly. As I say, we want to buy as much artwork, as many sources of music, many sources of writing as we can from the AI before they realize what's happening. An archaeologist has arrived in my Golden Gate city in order to just make sure that we have the capacity to put down as many pieces of wood as we can, which is good. And now the naturalists are going to start to make things even better. Artifacts are funny ones. You're going to find a lot of your own artifacts everywhere. If ever you've got an option to not pick yourself, pick somebody different. City-states are the best. Barbarians are not so good, but they're better than your own. Trade route to Arabia. Where are you? Damascus. It's a terrible route, but it now means we have trade routes with with everybody. Excellent stuff. That's exactly what we wanted to see. Oh, somebody just stole a musician. That's really good. It means there's more musicians on the table for us to take. Beautiful. There is a modern era artist, and we're going to get the next one. Perfect. And the musician. We've gone from 22 points to 45, and we're going to get the next one as well. Perfect. You can see, look, we've still got a lot of people just waiting. We're not using them just yet. Hold fire. Have patience. Our time will come. Now, as we get into the depths of the civics tree, there's a few things we want to be looking for. Social media gives 50% tourism output for anybody I've got a trade route to. I have trade routes with everyone. That's really good. Environmentalism gives us 25% extra tourism, full stop. And then there's policies like e-commerce that give us huge amounts of extra trade route capacity, which is lovely. Just 2 production and 5 gold on every route. And that's really nice. So kind of want to go down these sort of things. Satellite broadcast, 200% tourism from great works of music. There's some really lovely stuff there. As I pick up the second fort for the ballistics boost, we're going into military science, rifling, and then into steel. Steel means you can no longer build walls, which isn't ideal. So we're just building as many walls as we can. They do give a little bit of tourism. I didn't build as many as I probably should have done at the beginning of the game. That's fine. We'll survive. There's no more writing. Interesting. Let's just count this up. 33 great works of writing in my empire. 32 that other people have produced. Yeah, okay. We've bought every piece of great work of writing in our empire. So in theory, this would be a good time to start using our great works. I'm not going to for now, just in case anybody else makes one. I want to be ready to steal it. But it's a nice inflection point. I'm just going to put 6 envoys into the culture city-states. That will boost the culture from my broadcast centers. Oh, a trick? Leave a great work of writing in the palace. Otherwise, whenever you buy art, it gets plonked there. And it's really annoying because normally you can't take it out. Also, be careful. The AI does trade artwork. You can see here, portraits. 2 people had them. I thought, oh, that's exciting. But no, they're both Remember. Just be careful. They can trick you like that. They're sneaky. Here we go. We've got space for the second national park. Look at the appeal. Reina is an absolute queen of appeal. That's a 12 appeal tile in the middle there. Oh, perfect stuff. And this national park, already making 40 tourism. That's nothing. It's nothing. We will make that so much more. Made a neighborhood. Fantastic. A few wonders that help with tourism. Sydney Opera House, 3 slots for great works of music. Sometimes you ask yourself, why not? Why not? Well, we might as well see what this national park does. Let's have a look at the tourism. 35, 40. So there's 75 tourism from these 2 parks. Just these 2 parks are generating about a quarter of the tourism of my empire. Well, maybe 50%. 50%? 20%. Maths. Who needs it? I know I don't. This isn't a guide that requires maths. This is only Civ. AI is being particularly good at stealing city-states just as the turn rolls over so I don't get the killable bonus. Convenient. Stop it. Theatre Square projects really do give you a lovely burst of great people points. They are very useful indeed. Third park is now ready to go. Remember, you can't put woods on floodplain, but Reina spreads appeal from floodplain, so it's fine. Keep working on other bits, other areas. Every single one of those artifacts was a barbarian artifact. That's probably the worst haul I've had in some time. Never mind. Okay, I've saved up a little bit of gold. We just had an engineer rollover of Ada Lovelace, who may be a fantastic Civ 7 leader, but not who I'm after today. No, we're after Eiffel. So now we have 2 engineers with 6 charges of wonder building between them. We're going to save those for Golden Gate. And ideally, if we can get it in a high production city, Eiffel Tower, 70 production, 80 over here. Eiffel Tower's a little bit fiddlier to put down. Yeah, this one will do fine. There it is. We've got some good wonders on the way. Portugal's also gone for a democracy. This is outstandingly lucky. Normally, you don't get this sort of luck with the tier 3 governments because everybody goes for fascism every time. It's a worrying trend in this game, but hey, this is very handy indeed. We'll take it. We'll take it. Third national park. This one has only 22 tourism. It's not as high as the others, but that's fine. Adam Smith is the last merchant, and now we're on to the modern era, which is tricky because we need to make sure out of the 4 that we definitely get Sarah Breedlove. So we're gonna have to start running some merchant projects. Once that Theatre Square Festival's done, roll the commercial hub investment. We need to generate as many points as we can. Speaking of, we can earn some more merchant points with capitalism. Laissez-faire gives you more merchant points for every bank, and I've got a lot of those, so we'll run that as soon as we can. Ingala is now settled in the capital. I'm going to just treat the capital to a stadium, which should guarantee its own happiness. If you ever want to check that, have a look at the amenities of the city. This is +6. That's enough to make it ecstatic. And then have a look for amenities from luxury resources. resources. These are the things that are automatically allocated around your empire. If this shows 0, the game physically can't pull any amenities out of the city. So +6 is as low as it's going to get. That's really good. And then just to really double this up, I'm going to trade a tile and build Estadio. You can see I'm doing this next to a theater square to keep boosting its adjacency. It really doesn't matter, but I enjoy doing that. It's just fun. Contractor. Now I can use my gold to buy districts like a theater square, which would be handy. This is what I was talking about when it comes to having more than a certain amount of the same type of great work. Currently, Yang has 2 more landscapes, and I'm looking at that thinking I couldn't possibly theme it, but I can go to a city that's already themed and then move stuff out of it. So we'll head over to this city, move the landscape out, put a new one in, it'll stay themed, and we'll build up for the next one. It's genius. I'm going to take out frescoes temporarily and put laissez-faire in. This gets us more merchant points. Merchants are more important for us right now. I would like everything. This is absolutely one of those times that you do just have to prioritize. That is the aquatic center finished. So between the stadium and the aquatic center in the middle of my empire, we should see a lot of places becoming and staying ecstatic. Have some more great sources of writing. The next one is going to come my way, but I think it's probably worth at this point starting to use some of my writing, given the fact that we've got so much space for it. So I'm going to just move it all out of Leswit. As you can see, we've got 3 places here that is storing it, which means I can move all of my writers simultaneously and go 1, 2, and 3 like that. Perfect. And we'll get some more next turn. So as discussed before, move the art out of the city, go in, put some new stuff in, and it remains themed. And you can just do this with any city you have. Landscapes are automatically themed, as are religious art now. We want both. Both are good. There's no more music and no more writing available. No more religious, no more landscape. In fact, the AI is beginning to run out of great work. We've got a lot of statues here and there, but they're not a high priority. Artifacts? Okay, artifacts are more interesting. We probably can start buying those. Remember, you want to do as much of this as possible before you start winning tourism. At that point, the AI stops trading with you, so you need to get them all in now. Perfect. That's more artifacts. Artifacts are quite difficult to theme, to be honest with you, but you don't get the same penalty for not theming them, so having them is no bad thing. I don't think anyone's getting any musicians anytime soon. Writers, maybe, but musicians, definitely not. So we're going to do the same thing here. Just start spreading them around the nation, using our own sources of music. It's about time. Also, I'm addicted to railways. You'll know this by now if you watch the channel. Social media. Okay, we now have access to all of the tourism cards we really need. Again, I'm just dragging my heels on it a little bit, just making sure the economy is fully set up before we want to do this. But there are some really fun cards, like collective activism, which generates culture for every city-state I'm suzerain of. That's quite a few. So we'll put that in. 1,600 culture per turn now. You can see the appeal working, +6 appeal on the tile. I put a seaside resort there. It's making 6 tourism per turn. Lovely. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 themed museums. Brilliant. Just checking in on what the cities look like, and you can see, look, everywhere apart from 1, 2, 3, 4 has a theater square, and pretty much everyone has the ability to make a trade route. So we really are sticking to the gun of theater square, commercial hub, and then some science, faith, and production as we go, but less important. 1 turn away from steel. I won't be able to make walls after this point, so it's worth a few cities just building some cheap walls for a tiny bit of extra tourism, but it really doesn't make a huge difference. Another theater square. These are coming along nicely. So sometimes it will do this. The game will say, hey, the national park wants to go in a slightly different place than you want to put it. Not helpful. If you want to move that, simply find one of the tiles it wants to use that isn't the tile you want to use and go in and put an improvement on it. You can take it off afterwards. But that farm I can place on that tile will just stop anything from being built there unnecessarily. Steel unlocks Eiffel Tower. All tiles in my civilization gain 2 appeal. Now, we've already spoken about national parks, and that's kind of the reason we want to look at this. National parks give you tourism based on the total of appeal in them. So Eiffel Tower will increase every national park by 8. 36, 25, 40. Nope, each of those will be increased by 8 if we can pick it up, which we absolutely want to. So we're going to start to make Eiffel Tower now, just to make sure that we are getting the maximum benefit out of this. I'm going to pop skyscrapers into the government. 15% extra wonder production. We'll put it in instead of laissez-faire, and we're going to go Republican legacy briefly. I know I want the great people points, but yeah, look at that. That just took 3 turns off Eiffel Tower as the city is ecstatic, and that means we get the full 20% bonus bonus and 15% bonus on Filippo's production. So all 3 charges will finish the wonder, which is good considering just how out of date it is. Now, computers is really handy. It's very easily accessible and gives you 25% bonus tourism. I could start ramping tourism up now. You can see the victory has begun. We're not far off the point the AI will start going, I don't want to sell you anything. I'm just going to eke it out as much as I can. Instead, we're now going to go for Golden Gate, my next wonder, and then after that, BioSphere, the final wonder I'm looking for. So as I was saying before, pop the farm down and look at that. It's moved exactly where I want it to be. Next turn, I simply remove this and that will be fine. Oh, if ever you look at the tourism lens, by the way, and it's not showing you how much tourism a improvement is making, it just means the game has bugged out ever so slightly. Way to fix that is to save, go back to the main menu and then reload. It's annoying, but it works. There we go. Quick reload and you can see the tourism is now loading in. Just a visual bug, that one. You still get the tourism. It's just nice to know what's going on, I find. Fortunately, in terms of places that I can put a theater square in this city, it's going to be this tile, or this tile, and none of them wouldn't be improved with the fact that there's just sort of an improved feature there. I think actually this one's fine. It's you're looking at choices that are all a little bit samey, but that's fine. Meanwhile, keep cutting out districts. You can see there's a nice lighthouse, which means we've got another trade route. Always have a check as well. Do you have open borders? Do you have trade routes? If you do, then you can start looking at the magical where can I trade board. In this case, I'm going to figure out where's the most gold. Apparently my best routes are from this new city, which is incredibly vindicating when that happens. That's nice. It's like I did good. I made a thing that the game values, and that feels nice. Some fantastic new cards have just appeared. The 5-year plan is really good, but we have e-commerce and the International Space Agency. I don't have the space to employ everything right now, so we're just going to hang on that whilst I, well, inevitably now have to take the dip and hit environmentalism. This is probably now turning the point where we are beginning to earn so much tourism. We need to think about winning the games. We're going to just sort of rev things up in a second. Once the wonders are in place, Estadio will take the pressure off it because 2 amenities in every city is very, very handy. Bit of a visual bug with the great person screen here. I haven't seen that one before. Wow, look at that. Let's try another reload. There we go. That's better. Seeing as we have space, what I'm going to do now is start buying every single great work, regardless of what it is or whether or not I can theme it. The idea being the global trade of this sort of stuff will disappear quite soon. When it does, I won't be able to buy it anymore, and I'm going to regret not having it. Relics, not so much. Relics do give tourism, but it's religious tourism. Religious tourism is reduced by enlightenment by 50%, so it can be a little bit rubbish. We do have 2 temples. Maybe I should utilize them. So you can see the artwork that I've just bought. I'm just going to switch it around so that the same artist isn't in the same museum. It does give me a little bit more tourism. I'll take it. What I'm now going to do is show you the power of multipliers. 619 tourism is what we are currently making. 619. There's Estadio. Now we just increased that by 25%. This means if we just take a look at Poland, we're making 1,000 tourism per turn. But we're just going to switch the government around and show you how powerful it is to boost tourism. We're going to make this number bigger by basing our tourism and just increasing it massively. We've got satellite broadcast, gives us 104 tourism by tripling the tourism on great works of music, and then heritage tourism adds another 100 by doubling art and artifacts. Then we're going to go online communities. That gives me 50% tourism, not as this number, but as these numbers. Instead of 25% extra tourism, we're now getting 75% extra tourism, and that number's gone from 1,000 per turn to 1,800 per turn. We are now making 80% more tourism just by changing the cards around, and this is what I mean by tourism making a late game impact. Cree is producing 3.5 domestic tourists per turn. Reduce that by 1 and a bit. We'll call it about 2 per turn because I'm taking 1 from them. So this 339 is going to increase by 2 every single turn. I, on the other hand, am generating roughly 8 or 9 tourists per turn, which means my number's going up by 9. I'm gaining 7 every turn. To make up the 280, it's going to take about 40 turns, and that's just with the tourism I have. The late game has begun. Now we are still working these merchants. There's Rockefeller. Stamford's not how I want it, but you can see the projects are now coming in quickly, and you can see the difference between the tourism penalty and not having it is about 200 per person. Now, being tier 4 doesn't make me any worse for these people. It would just increase the penalty against Portugal and Cree. So, in fact, actually, Australia has already gone tier 4. What are you? Oh, no, they haven't. They've gone tier 3. people are going to start changing. So instead of just resting on democracy, I'm now going to go to tier 4. Let's start with digital democracy. 2 amenities in all cities, 2 culture per specialty district. It's very good. So we weren't even winning the turn before. Now it's 38 turns. So yeah, cranking it up. We can get this much higher than 1,000. Much higher than 1,000. Just keep buying the great works. As I say, this will stop soon. In fact, nobody has any. We've bought every single thing the game has to offer. Brilliant. Well, we can really start using my own now. Distributed sovereignty, digital democracy. It's not quite as good as managed democracy, but it's still pretty good. Now we're going to lose a little bit of tourism as discussed with Cree and Portugal, but everyone else is about the same. And as long as we're making use of the government, which we are, it's worth keeping. I'm going to keep the 3 tourism cards in. Logistics is fair enough. And we're going to go 4 because we don't need any more happiness. Between Estadio and this government, we are all ecstatic everywhere. Democratic legacy, laissez-faire, and frescoes. Just to up our great people points. Up to 2,500 culture per turn now. The number's pretty big. Keep running out of coal. We are burning through coal very quickly. Luckily, Arabia is providing me some. Yeah, upping my government took about 10 turns more into the victory. People really underestimate how much being in a high-tier government slows down a tourism victory. But now we're seeing it. We're already up to future, and we're before turn 250. So we've got a pretty good rate here. Still making lovely works of great music. Every single one of these is worth a good 50 in tourism. And we're going to, instead of laissez-faire, pop in skyscrapers once again, because we've got some important work to do. The Golden Gate Bridge. This is a big build. 1,620 production, but Eiffel is up to the job. 3 charges boosted with an ecstatic city should be plenty. And we're just going to come back to this. Remember this. 50 tourism, 45, 31, 20. You have seen nothing. Now, people are using rock bands in my territory, which means they are gaining tourism. I have seen so many people getting the mechanics of this ever so slightly wrong. Rock bands increase their attack. They gain tourism. It does not take tourists away from me when I am attacking. It is purely their culture victory. It doesn't matter. If you're winning a culture victory, you can have as many rock bands in your territory as you want. It will make your victory no easier or no harder. It does not make a difference. There we go. 2 appeal on every single tile in the Empire, and Sydney Opera House just to provide a little bit more space for my great works of music. You can see we've got plenty of space for these now. We've even got some more great writing. If we now check in 60 tourism, because there are multipliers here as well. And yeah, the tourism and the appeal in this city are looking pretty nice. Ah, it's doing that thing again. I don't want the national park here. If I buy this tile, will that change it? Nope. What about if I buy this tile? Nope. All right, put an improvement down on that tile. And we can make the park over here. If you hadn't noticed by now, none of these civics actually make your life any easier. We're doing them because we can, is the main thing. Oh, Vilnius, we haven't checked in on this one. Vilnius increases theatre square district adjacency by a number depending on your highest alliance. I've got a level 2 alliance, so we actually go in and have a look. 7 adjacency because we've got wonders and entertainment complexes around. That's been doubled to give 14. And that's what Vilnius is doing. Nice. Golden Age, creeping up, still about 40 turns. Nothing has majorly changed yet. I want you to keep an eye on this number. 1,865 tourism per turn. That is with a 40% penalty. The modern age doesn't really have a huge amount for us. We're going to go reform the coinage once again because it's earning a considerable amount of gold. It's atomic age. That's when you start getting tourism from golden ages. So it's the atomic you really need to get. But by this point, you should be getting golden ages every time. Quickly pop down that lumber mill. And there is another national park. Eiffel finishes the Golden Gate Bridge. This city gains 3 amenities. Perfect. It was ecstatic already. All tiles in the city gain 4 appeal. So that's 2 Eiffel Towers worth. 100% tourism from improvements and national parks in this city. Yep, 100% extra. So not only do we have more appeal, we're just rocking some casual plus 18 tiles in this, but we also now get double tourism from the national park. So yeah, that's 162 tourism. And we've got 150, 122, 100, and 125. My terrible head maths is saying we're making about 650 tourism just from this one city, which is as much as all of my great works put together. So that just gives you a scale of how powerful that wonder is. And we haven't even put our last national park down now. 1,800 per turn? No, just that one wonder has boosted us by 800 tourism with every one. So we're making 3.5 extra tourists per turn just on Golden Gate, such is the way we set it up. Pretty good, right? That's before we get the merchants involved. We are still, would you believe it, gearing up. And now that we've got that wonder, by the way, we can take skyscrapers out. And I think laissez-faire is still good. I did notice, by the way, Aztecs are in a dark age, which means they are at risk of losing a few cities, like a lot of them to me. So we're going to get a bit of an army together and get ready to just take over these as they flip. Should be fairly easy. This is quite a tricky World Congress to come up because it's asking me, do I want to try and double or ban tourism from Great Works, which for me isn't going to stop me winning or losing this game, given how much tourism I'm generating, but it does raise a question. Do you gamble on trying to double tourism? Well, maybe. Or do you try and divert attention? Doubling the tourism isn't really going to do me a huge amount because it's an additive bonus. The way of thinking about this, for instance, if we look at the capital, is that this book gives 2 tourism, but you can see we're earning 6, which is 3 times much. Well, 3 times the amount. If we have a look and kind of try and work out why, printing gives us double. So that's plus 100% tourism from writing, but then we've also got Pingala in the city. Pingala does the same thing, plus 100%, but they're not multiplying. It's not 100% and then another times 100%, because that would be 400%. No, it's adding them together. So we're actually on 300% tourism, and the World Congress would only give us another 100%, so we'd only go to 400%. We've got the same thing with artworks because they are themed, which gives 100%, and then we've also got a card in the government that gives another 100%. Music has just got a straight 200%. So the World Congress, it says doubled, but it's not. This is actually quite a small bonus. No, it would be worse if we were to lose it. We do not want this to be banned. So what we're going to do is we're going to pick something that we don't care about, like relics. Try and double it and throw all of it in. So just in case A goes through, doubling something is good, but then we're putting our votes in on relic because that would be the least bad option for us. Now, diplomatic points, unfortunately, we've got to the stage of the game where people are going to start trying to win this. It's rare the AI actually does. I'm going to put just a vote in on myself and World's Fair. Well, we're making a lot of great people points, so the World's Fair is a really good thing. Actually, we should probably have a look at these aid requests and make sure other people don't win them. So we'll throw Poundmaker a little bit of gold here just to make sure we win it. Relics doubled. Okay, we avoided the worst there. We've given Cree 1,000 gold. We're just avoiding anybody else getting the diplomatic bonus. That's the main thing. I've just sold a bit of gold because I've seen that somebody else has popped up that is quite useful. A scientist, Mary Leakey. Artifacts in all cities generate 300% of normal tourism. Now, we don't have too many artifacts, but we do have some, and triple tourism is a big increase, so we'll make use of her. Absorb city-state into the empire. If I want another city, like for instance, if I want to turn Vilnius into a city, that would be useful. It's best to use it on a city-state that's really not giving you much benefit. I think I might actually keep my city-states around. I think they're better used just increasing my yields, but again, if I've got him, then nobody else does. Aha, here we go. There's Sarah. 25% bonus tourism rate. This is the merchant we've been looking for because 25% extra tourism is a huge deal. That will be a massive increase in tourism. We want that. Just keep an eye on Great Works. If there's ever a point where you can buy them, do it because it won't last. We're making far too much tourism at the moment. AI will slowly learn, maybe we shouldn't be giving Ursa all of this tourism. It's just going to take a long time to figure that out. Okay, we're now working on synthetic materials, which means we are only one step away from BioSphere. BioSphere is another huge way to make tourism, and we need to get ready for BioSphere. Firstly, we'll pick up Shah. Shah allows us to basically buy wonders, which is fantastic. We also need to start making builders en masse. Builders are going to be very, very important for this. So frescoes, yeah, we're going to put public works in instead of frescoes. This means we can start generating a lot of builders, and yeah, we're going to need those for BioSphere. We're just letting these merchant or commercial hub investments go through until we get the merchants we want. Once we've got the merchants, they're going to be less important, and we'll really, really push the builders. Well, hey, who'd have thought it? We have an aid request. That basically just stops anybody else getting the points, which is the main thing. We don't want anyone else winning. That is absolutely exceptional. It looks like Poland spent thousands, and I do mean thousands of gold or faith in order to purchase Sarah Breedlove out from under me as soon as I went for raffles. Okay. On this channel, I pride myself on just going with the flow, but I am going to go back a turn. I'm going to show you how we can avoid that happening. I've been looking into why that happened. You can see at the moment there's 855 merchant points needed for raffles. The only thing I can think is we've now just gone into a new era, which means we were on modern era merchants in the previous era, which means they were an inflated price. Once this one rolls around, because Poland doesn't have a huge amount of gold or faith, I think the merchant price just collapsed and I didn't notice it. So we don't need raffles. We're going to pass. And if this is correct, as soon as he's picked, the price will collapse and then the next one will go through. We'll test that theory and see if it works. I'm pretty sure that's what's going on there. The way to think about it is this. If you are in the same era as the great person, it will have regular points. But if the game era is before the era of the great person, so for instance, scientists are a good example. We're on atomic era rather than modern era. These will be inflated in price. They will be more expensive than they should be. And that's the game's way of trying to stop you from getting too far forward. Whether it works or not, I don't know. That is what it's trying to do. As well as the turns go through, raffles will be taken at some point and then the price will collapse. We might have to wait for Poland to get there naturally, so we're going to have to check in every turn. I'm just going to go back to a point I made before as well. Do you remember I said your tourism needs to be about 2 times the culture of the culture leader in order to just be keeping pace? Well, it's still Cree. Cree has the most domestic tourists, 465 culture, which means we need about 900 tourism just to be keeping up. So we are now above that point, and we have modifiers. We have trade routes and open borders and things that are increasing that, but it's worth keeping in mind that the tourism number is always a little bit higher than you think it needs to be. This is what I'm talking about when it comes to the price collapsing, by the way. Turing was taken, and on the same turn, 3 other scientists all got taken at the same time, and that's because they just collapsed the price. So everybody who had any sort of points was able to just scoot them up in the same turn. This happens a lot. It's often a little bit frustrating. Can't really do anything about it. You can't really predict it. You just have to go with the flow. Cree is now making the Earth satellite, so they're looking like they're going to start winning. Because of that, I just need to be a little bit careful about sending too many trade routes to that spaceport city, because I would be giving them extra production, which isn't great. You don't want to do that if you can avoid it. We're going to get a nice boost of science from Meriliki. Look at that. Almost now to BioSphere. Things with so many merchant points over what we need to be. I'm now going to go through and stop the projects and start to spam the builders. You'll see why in a bit. It happened again. Look at all of these writers all taken on the same turn. It just flipped to the next stage and they all got released. Frustrating when that happens, but we have a look. I think we're just in time. We might be able to continue buying some. Yeah, we can still buy great works. We'll keep that eye out for that next turn. So now that we've got synthetic materials, we're going to just go quickly for the flood barrier at computers. It also gives us more tourism. I have a feeling this island is going to sink, and with it, the theatre square. So I need to make sure I put some flood barriers up as quickly as possible. Didn't think that through. Even at the time, I was thinking this could be a bad move. It turns out it was a bad move. Let's take Shah. Lovely engineer, converts gold into wonders. We're going to use Shah to 1-turn BioSphere. Now, you may have noticed, especially because we can hear the beautiful dulcet tones of it happening every now and then, we haven't used rock bands yet. Rock bands are something you unlock with Cold War. You buy them with faith, and they are units that go out and produce tourism for you by performing concerts in other countries. I think they are terrible. I think when it comes to resources and the use of those resources, they are possibly the worst things in the game. The only thing that makes them at least tolerable is right at the end in future era, the HUZZAH card, which lets you pick specific promotions on rock bands, which makes them slightly less useless. We will talk about them, but they cost faith. And right now, my faith is better used on national parks. It gets me more steady tourism. Once this last national park is in place and this city has all 6 loaded up, then we'll talk about rock bands. But don't worry, I haven't forgotten them. They're just rubbish. Maybe sounds a bit harsh me saying that, but I'm genuine. They are rubbish. So the BioSphere is 1,740 production. Double that is just less than 3,500 gold. So 1 charge of Shah should insta-build BioSphere. Okay, I got that slightly wrong. Next turn it'll finish, but close enough. Another theatre square, which means another amphitheatre. Gonna see if my luck has run out. I know people have writing, but it's not appearing. That's because for whatever reason, I don't have enough gold. This happens as soon as you get about halfway to victory. We have just about reached that point. The AI goes, you're gonna win, and you're gonna win very, very soon. I better not encourage that, and it will stop selling you great works. That is now the case. It's worth checking every turn though, because often what happens is that it forgets every now and then. So every 4 or 5 turns, you are able to just go, you know what? I want to just do that anyway. BioSphere is the next major tourism strat. It is as important, if not more important, than Golden Gate Bridge. Why is it so good? Well, it's all of the new mechanics it brings into the game. All renewable energy, so offshore wind farms, solar farms, wind farms, geothermal plants, hydroelectric dams now generate triple electricity. That in itself is good. However, it gets better. This building and these improvements provide tourism equal to their power. Now, any renewable power on the map generates tourism. It also gives 1 appeal to tiles adjacent to rainforest and marsh in my empire, which increases my appeal even more. So we are now making tourism from renewable energy. What is renewable energy? Well, we can get several sources of it very easily. Wind farm and the solar farm are the 2 earliest and easiest ones to pick up. Once we've got computers, we're going to just dip into composites and pick up wind farm. Later into the future era techs, there is also the offshore wind farm. Now, all of those improvements give 2 power, which doesn't sound like a lot because that would be 2 tourism. But remember, BioSphere triples it, so it gives 6 tourism. And then we have 25% on computers and 25% on environmentalism, which means every tile actually gives me 9 appeal, 9 tourism, which again doesn't sound like a lot, but you've got to remember that's per tile. And I have a lot of tiles, a huge amount of tiles, including tons of offshore tiles. If every city gets 10 improvements, that would be 90 tourism per city. We would see numbers that make anybody in this game weep. That is the plan. So we're going to keep just sort of cranking this up. Hopefully we should see some really good results very quickly. Okay, it's worth checking. This turn, we can buy the writing. This is, I don't know why. Sometimes just the odd turn slips through. Take it. Always take it if you can. All of this writing is writing that I'm not going to be able to buy very, very soon. Yep, there you go. We maxed this out now. All of my builders are just going to wait. We're going to build them, but then just hover and hold for a while until we know exactly what we want to do with them. They will have a use soon. Don't you worry. They will have a use soon. We're on to Future Civic now, which means we get 50 Diplo favor per turn, and we start to get infinite governor titles. We don't need to do this, but if you need any more governors at this point, this is an easy way to do that. It's like we are going to seize at least 1 more city from the Aztec as well, which is brilliant. Has a campus, a couple of wonders, an industrial zone, a holy site. Yeah, this is good. I reckon Tio might fall as well. Tamar, that's going to fall. This is going to fall. Actually, we need to assemble a decent enough army to come and run in here and claim this. I do have strong units available. Helicopters, tanks. We might work on that. Just make sure we've got something to bring over. This one will flip to me. At this point, we're after landmass. We need as many cities and as many tiles as possible because BioSphere just gets better the more tiles you have. Kree is making 5 tourists. Currently, I'm generating about 12 or 13. So we are catching quickly. We haven't even started. That's the thing. We haven't even started this. These are what we would call rookie numbers. Hydroelectric dam would provide 18 power with BioSphere. So, yep, that's a lot of tourism. We want to build that. Raffle still hasn't been taken yet. Need to keep an eye out for him. Alto. Alto's fun. City provides 1 appeal to tiles it owns. You can use that obviously twice. And if only there was a city we had that applied appeal. Well, okay, that is genuinely quite interesting. Rather than merchant points, we're now going to change this for engineering points. Let's focus in on that. I like Alto. Alto is an amazing engineer for tourism. The sea has started to rise, which is not good, seeing as I've got coal and a theatre square now underwater. A useful search to do, if ever you want to have a look at this, is Rome, pillaged, 2 terms in the same thing. This will show you all of the tiles in your empire that have been pillaged. Normally, it's a good way of working out where things have flooded. There's another one over there. Yeah, we need to actually get quite a few. I built all of my theatre squares on floodable tiles. I don't know why I did that. Okay, that's a commercial hub. That's totally different then. We now have science foundations, which is a better way of making engineering points. We'll pop that in now. And there's an interesting calculation to make here. Currently, I am a government that gives amenities and culture, but I've completed the culture tree, so culture is no longer needed. And as you can see, pretty much every single one of my cities is now ecstatic anyway. So we can have a look at another government. Synthetic technocracy. This has minus 10% tourism, which on the face of it sounds very bad. Selecting this would cost me 184 tourism as a penalty. That's not good. However, 3 power in all cities. This counts as renewable energy, and BioSphere says, oh, I like that. That's 9 3 power in all cities. Now I have 23 cities, which means it's worth 207 tourism. So actually, I don't lose any tourism at all, and I'd get the environmental power. Now this unfortunately does get slightly worse as we build up sources of tourism. The more tourism I have on the map, the worse that is. But right now, that actually is an increase in the tourism that I'm making. So we're going to switch to it. It feels really counterintuitive, but it actually will increase increase my tourism per turn. And more importantly, every single city will have a source of renewable energy, which will stop climate change, which is currently swallowing all of my cities. So if we can slow that down, I think I am pretty much the worst contributor towards that. Yeah, it's basically all me. If I can slow my own carbon output down, I can buy myself time here. Oh, wow. Okay, just saying that, it's just immediately leaped to the next stage. I think there must have been some deforestation there that just pushed everyone above a limit. Once the game loses enough woods and rainforests, it slams the carbon up by a fixed percentage of 50%. I think that's just what's happened there. Let's see how much worse that's made it for me. A little bit worse. It's not too bad. Nothing ultimately desperate has gone underwater. Or maybe this. What is that? Industrial zone? Yeah, that's bad. Industrial zone sinking mean you don't have any production to then fix it. It's the old one too. Computers has just pushed my tourism up by another 25%. You'll see. So we're on 2,211. Let's see if switching government does increase or decrease my tourism. I don't need collective activism anymore. I'm kind of capped out. So we'll see each city now producing 9 from renewable sources. That is boosted by computers and environmentalism. So we're actually getting, what, 14.5 tourism per city. So about 300 extra just from settling. And the more we settle, the more we get from that. So we really should keep that in mind. Raffle still hasn't gone. Come on, flip into somebody that I can use, please. Thank you. Let's unlock the wind farm and then the solar farm. And we have an army of tanks. So I'm going to go and send and see if we can take out this city. That would be lovely. Thank you. I might build myself an aerodrome just so I can have some planes as well. Although, yep, it's flood barrier time. Any city that can make a flood barrier needs to do it as a priority. These are expensive to make, but they need to happen and they need to happen quickly. That one's bad. 51 turns. We need to speed that up. Luckily, there are ways we can do that. 78 turns on this one. Oh, okay, we need to speed that up as well. How do we speed that up? Well, we have a city with an encampment. You need to be making military engineers for us. These will go out through my empire and use their charges to boost the sea walls, which I'm going to just get out and start doing now. Hopefully, the carbon will slow down massively now that I'm not contributing. We'll see if that works out. So last turn I had minus 13 on carbon emissions penalty. Also, it's given me 2 randomly free civics. That's just going to be governments that I've missed out on. Yep, it's literally only future civic I can do now. Fair enough. This turn we're still on minus 13. Interesting. Still generating a lot of carbon. I don't think it's actually recalculated itself. My builders, by the way, I am leaving them just resting on hill tiles so that when I have this technology, I can start building wind farms. I will just start spamming this. The last national park, and it is generating 154 tourism. Yep. Okay, now we can start buying rock bands. We're going to start saving my faith of these. Always my absolute favorite time of any game. Rock band time. It's not at all. Few people are now sending up space projects, but they haven't unlocked nanotech. They haven't unlocked smart materials. We're comfortably going to win this. And I'd like to just remind you all, we probably took 25, 30 times. Yeah, 30 turns or so of delay being attacked by Aztec at the beginning of the game. Just goes to show how powerful these strategies are and how welcome you all are to them. So if this looks any better. Yes, there we go. Okay, unfortunately, the world is still flooding because everyone else is putting carbon in, but my contribution has at least stopped. Tiles submerged. You know what? I really don't want to let that happen. We're going to start doing some carbon recapture, which is not a particularly efficient use of production. I would like to be doing other things with it, but I can't let the world flood at this point. Not at least until I have the flood barriers up around my theater squares, because they will get lost to the sea, which is not ideal. You know, there are things that are ideal and things that are not ideal, and that's probably the latter. Tourism is now climbing to a level that even Cree is finding it tough. They are generating 4.8 tourists every turn, but I'm taking 2.5 from them. So they're only actually gaining about 2.5 tourists. And in exchange, I'm now generating about 18 to 20 per turn. So we very much are catching up now. And as I say, tourism, we have not even maxed this out. There are still strategies we can employ. We're just waiting for this merchant to roll through. Come on, Poland. What's going to happen is that Poland, well, they're not going to take Stamford. It's going to be incredibly awkward for us. We haven't even unlocked economics. I've just realized for stock exchange. Stock exchange is a very good way way of making merchant points. Something we probably should have got before, but never mind. I like sending production to Poland. I don't know. I just feel like Poland always needs it. Buying some tanks. There we go. Composites. Right. Economics is next. We're going to go for satellites to get the solar farm. But now my builders who have been waiting so patiently on hills. Anything that is a hill tile, whatever the improvement is now being removed because we can put wind farms down. Wind farms will be going on any single tile in my empire that they can be put on without exception. Doesn't matter if my cities starve. Doesn't matter if we have no production. None of that matters. We are looking for tourism here. Tourism and nothing else. Look at that. Beautiful. That one tile is making 9 tourism per turn. And we are going to be spamming it over and over and over. Economics. And Alva, we managed to pick up. Fantastic. Tesla, less important with Tesla. And the spam. The spam begins. The wind farms will be on every tile. Doesn't matter if the game says no, Ursa. You don't need wind farms on this tile. You've got enough power. There are better stats if you build anything else. To that I say, you don't see my vision. You just don't see it. I need to stop selling carbons to everybody. They're the ones burning it now. This isn't good. I can reduce it by 50 next turn, but oh, we're getting very, very close to the world flooding again. I underestimated how much carbon everyone else was putting out, and I've just sold them a bunch of coal. Now, Cree has just got moon landing. That gives the Cree a one-time bonus of 10 times their science in culture, which is about 4,200 culture, which will be about 42 domestic tourists. So you often see tourism victories after a moon landing get very, very far away. Just one time, that would explain it. That's what's just happened there. So it's fun when that happens, actually, because when that does happen, often the game thinks, you're not winning anymore because people have got loads of culture, so they sell you great works. Okay, it's not quite that good. We're still over the halfway mark, but it's always worth checking that out. Okay, there you go. Stamford's gone through, which means Sarah Breedlove is there and ready to go. Then we can also pick up Mary because we've got so many merchant points saved up and we're now into the atomic merchants. It did work. We had to wait for it, but it did work. 1 diplomatic visibility with everybody doesn't do anything for tourism, but it means we're stronger. 25% extra tourism. Let's just show you what this is. Currently with Cree, I'm making 4,200 per turn. We use the merchant and now it's 4,900. That's another 650 tourism with each player. It's huge. It's absolutely massive. Not to be ignored. You can see as we start looking around the map, there are more and more sources of tourism beginning to pop up because BioSphere is now kicking into full gear. This is restrained BioSphere. I should point that out. Hills are difficult. They're not going to win you this. There's just not enough hills in the game. No, flatland will help, but it's offshore. Offshore is the one we're really looking forward to here. We're going to go for laissez-faire. Get some of these merchant points in. We've seen how powerful they are. And my gold, I'm going to start getting some stock exchanges because with my city-states, they are making 20-something gold each. It stacks up very quickly. Makes me a lot more merchant points. I like them. Okay, the world is running out of carbon again. Yeah, you can see Portugal used all their coal really quickly. I'm just not going to sell it. And we're going to just keep doing recapture. As I say, I just want to make sure that the cities that have theater squares are protected. So we're sailing military engineers to those as quickly as we can. It's costing me a little bit of gold, but once we've got everyone protected, we won't worry so much. So Alvar can be used twice and will increase every single tile in this city by 1 appeal. So that's 2 appeal. The bonuses because of Golden Gate will stack this up quite considerably. Just take a look at this part down here. This is 182 tourism per turn. We'll just generate 1 charge. See if it updates. My next turn. Oh, I couldn't stop it in time. We just lost a considerable amount of theater squares there. 1, 2, 3 of them, I think. Okay, never mind. We will rebuild. You can just build new ones. But unfortunately, I think we lost quite a few of the great works of writing and other bits that came from that. Here's another hint for you. Tourism from great works is not the biggest contributor. It's very difficult to win a culture victory just on great work tourism. Just to put it in perspective again, we have 800 tourism from great works at the moment. And this city, well, I said I'd check back in this, 193. So this is going to be over 200 tourism from that park. This one city is probably making more tourism by maybe a time and a half than all of the great works in my empire. And now BioSphere is starting to wake up as well. It's better late than never, but we are now bringing it down slightly. And this 2 population city has flipped to me. It may be tempting to dismiss these things, but you shouldn't. Every single new city is a new theater square, so we like it. And this is something to be aware of. I'm making open borders with Arabia because I ran out of alliances, but they are rejecting generating friendship even though they are plus 34. And that's because the game knows I'm about to win, so all friendships are denied. Just be aware of that. You might need to start manually doing open borders after a point. Since I started building these wind farms, we have massively boosted my tourism. 27 of them times by 9 tourism times by multipliers. You can see how this gets quite important. It's weird though, because every now and then the AI will just offer you friendship. It tends to be because the game works out, are you winning or are you not winning at different points in the turn? And sometimes the logic will say, you're not winning. Here you go. Here's a friendship. And then it'll sort of later go, wait a minute. More great works. Writers and artists are all welcome in my nation. Let's get some new theatre squares loaded in. Can't believe we lost some to flooding. How embarrassing. Hey, look, I do these things so that you don't have to. That's what you got to remember. It's a service. Let's see who the next merchant is. We've got Levi and Helena. Not the person I wanted. We're after Milita. Never mind. As we approach 3,000 tourism and we reach the point where we would have won the game, I'm going to play a little bit longer just to show you some of these strategies in full force. It's well worth having a look at the tourism lens every now and then, because it really does give you an idea of how much tourism impact a particular thing has had over the course of the game. Like if we look at certain buildings, like Sydney Opera House is generating 36 tourism from works, archaeological museums are generating 36, the National History Museum is generating 64. It gives you a good indication. Like for instance, our capital's theatre square, 23 tourists. The government plaza, just from those 4 pieces of music, 24. It kind of shows you how powerful Sweden is because you can theme music. 25 in this theatre square, slightly better adjacencies, but then we go and have a look at over here, 27. I built these national parks very late into the game, and they have already generated more tourism than the great works have. Just to put it in context for you. But it also shows you just how weak certain things are, like early game wonders. Mausoleum, it's making 12 per turn, but that is only 7 tourists. Even Sydney Opera House, 8. So they do tourism, but not a lot of it. Just worth keeping that in mind. Oh, Cree, I think, have switched to my government. So we're gaining another 1,000 tourism per turn. That was a mistake. That means I'm now gaining 4 tourists from them every turn, and they're only generating 4.8. So they are no longer gaining any on me. Yeah, sorry about that. I think they probably took one look at it and went, nah, we're unlikely to hold out here. We might as well just have a good government. It actually means though that the carbon will go down a little bit because Cree won't be making any now. Excellent. Down with carbon. So let's have a look at some stats before we dive into the late game or the post game. Catherine the Great, fantastic leader in Civ 7 on the score. And you can see a very slow start. Oh, this dark purple line is so difficult to see, but look, my economy picks up and bam, we build more than anything else. Cities captured, didn't capture any, very peaceful. Founded, we just made sure that that middle game, you settle up to the point where you catch up with the AI and then you go bam, in 2 different waves. AI couldn't keep up with me. Districts, I had more. That generally is why you do better. Culture, I took the culture lead, turn 150. So again, very late into the game. But once I took it, I never gave it back. Science, I only briefly took the science lead at the end of the game. Gold generation, you can see my line goes up and down far more. I was generating a lot more than the AI was. Faith generation, neither here nor there. Wonders, didn't build any until I got some engineers, and even then, Cree has built more than me. Wonders, not particularly important apart from the chosen few. And then religions founded, they were all taken by about turn 60. Now, the interesting thing about the post game is, technically, look, it says that I haven't won. The game works out whether you've won by adding tourists in first and then taking them away on the defense. You have this sort of little opportunity to win the game like I just did there. But any AI that was refusing to give me friendship or open borders or trade great works with me, now they will, because the game is over. That has stopped. So they now will trade with you anything you want, which I always find quite amusing. Cree, why are your spies in my city? We're allied. Pretty sure you shouldn't be able to do that, but okay. I've learned not to ask. I've learned definitely do not ask. So what we're going to do is just push forward a little bit until we get to satellites, get the solar farm, and then we get the offshore wind turbine, and that should hopefully give us a load of extra powers. You can still see the military engineers are being funneled all over the empire to get these flood barriers sorted, or just fix everything nice and quickly. There you go. Look, people are selling me great works now. It's weird, but I think now the game knows they've lost. They're like, yeah, sure, have them all. Korea has now gone for digital democracy. So we're going to get a bit of a penalty with them again. And digital democracy is the worst because you get culture on every district. It's the best defense against culture victories. If they'd done that earlier, they may have been able to hold out for a couple of turns more. Really no more than that. We're now gaining something like 30 tourists every turn, and we've got to 3,000 tourism. It's a nice place to be. It's a very nice place to be. I just want to point out how ineffective rock bands are. Australia has just sent about 5 or 6 to me, and they've been earning 4,000 tourism each go. He only has 29 tourists. The problem is you need more tourism to gain a tourist than you think. 4,000 would only actually gain 2 tourists. And unlike tourism from the Global Bank, which applies to everyone at the same time, rock bands only apply to one civilization. They are utterly ineffective. The only time they are remotely useful is if you use them on the domestic tourist leader, because if you steal tourists from them, you bring down the global amount that you're trying to hit to win, which is what we're going to do a little bit of now. I'll do this just so you can see how rubbish it is. I do this so that you don't have to. Sorry, Vesselbanken, you're going to disappear for a bit so that I can get HUZZAH. Rock band units can choose from any possible promotion. Now, we're going to send them down to the Cree, and we will probably see the first problem with them immediately, which is a card that can be found in Space Race. Music, censorship. Rock bands from other players may not enter your territory. I know Kree's got it. Kree's got a tier 4 government. They have to have unlocked it. So as soon as I send them to Kree, they will block them. Maybe we'll get a single concept or 2. I don't know. We'll give it a go, but do not expect wonders. Another tax from the Aztecs from that early war. They've given me another city, which is very, very kind of them. We'll fix up the walls, fix up the cathedral, and we'll buy some science buildings, seeing as they're here. Rock bands. Oh, rock bands. Okay, here's the thing about rock bands. They cost the same amount as a naturalist that makes a national park, but unlike a natural park that can make tons and tons of tourism, a rock band can be very much a little bit of a one and done. There's also a very big difference between the tourism, say a national park or Great Work makes, compared to a rock band, and that's that regular tourism, like this tourism over here, well, this applies to every player at the same time. So effectively, it's currently worth 7 times the number it says. This isn't making me 204 tourism, it's making me roughly 1,400 and, what would that be, 28? Maths. Per turn, 1,428 per turn. Rock bands give you a lot of tourism, but they only give you tourism with the country that they play the rock at. They also die. They need to level up in order to do really well, and they just die. So this is why I tend not to get them until you have the HUZZAH card. Then you can pick their promotions, and you can have a little bit more certainty over what to do. Now, they only get tourism ordinarily from one civ. So who do you go for? Well, ideally, the domestic tourism leader, because if you get tourism with that nation, you will move them away from their domestic tourist pool. So you will actually bring down the cap of what you're aiming for to win. If you use it in any other civ, you get tourists and it adds to your number, but it won't reduce the overall number. So if I send it to anybody that isn't Cree, it will be worth 1 times. If I send it to Cree, it'll be worth 2 times. Now, what promotion are we going to use? Well, you're looking for something that levels the rock band up quickly. The higher the level, the less likely they are to die if they perform, and the more time they will have to accumulate album sales. Album sales determine how much tourism is made, as well as the tourism base of the tile you're working on, but the level is very important. So, for instance, if we start somewhere that just generates more tourism, like goes to 11, where it produces 50% extra tourism to civilizations within 10 tiles, this is good, but it doesn't make them any better, so they'll probably just die. Whereas if we go for something like Glam Rock, we can perform as if 2 levels more experience on theater squares, which Cree has a few of. This will give them the chance to level up. So we're going to start with Glam Rock and go from there, and we'll make 3 rock bands. 3 will be fine for now. We don't need any more than that. We don't need to subject ourselves to this much pain. And when you're using a rock band, you can see highlighted tiles that are possible to perform concerts on. Each of them has a different amount of tourism they will generate, and it's all based on the district, but also then the buildings in it. For instance, a theater square gives no tourism, but if it has an amphitheater, it has 250 tourism. An art museum, and it doesn't go up at all, but a broadcast center, 750. So it's well worth going for fully developed districts if you can. So in comes the rock band onto a theater square that has a broadcast center, and you can see we have a 26% chance of dying. That is a 50% chance the rockers will die immediately, and then you gain approximately 1/8 chance more for every level you have. So this is currently firing as a 3rd level rock band, which means we have 1/4 chance of dying, or 2/8 rather than 4/8. It kind of makes sense. Manager expects to generate 1,000 tourism from the venue, so we use them and they die It was a bad performance. We got 2,000 tourism in total and they died. So that's all that faith down the toilet. And let's have a quick look and see what 2,000 tourism does. 1 tourist with the Cree. So, okay, we've brought down this number by 1. We've added this up by 1. So that's like a 2 change, which does make a difference. But is it worth it? It is very, very debatable. That, by the way, is with the promotion that makes them the hardest to kill. My builders on flat land are now going to start clearing and doing improvements and just generally getting the land ready for the solar farm, the next level of improvement. This is going to be another huge redo project, but one that is worth bankrupting and starving my entire empire for. I am serious. Like, every improvement must go. If it's on flat land, it must go. We were on 3,100 tourism before we started this. Remember that number. You have to get a lot of archaeological museums to start theming things, but when you do, it is very worth it as long as you have Mary Shelley. Right, here we go. Solar farms. They can be built on any flat land that isn't snow. You pop them down, and just like the wind turbines, they generate 9 tourism as long as you have BioSphere. Now, that's not the best. The best is the offshore wind farm. That can be put on any piece of coast, and it represents an obscenely powerful upgrade. We're just going to unlock nanotech because just one of these techs is revealed by it. Robotics has the other. It'll be one of these 6. This 7th is always the booster project, so it's going to be one of these 6. We'll see how it goes. And we really, really are going to put them down absolutely everywhere we can. It will be terrifyingly bad for biodiversity. Every single tile that can have one is actually one of the reasons why having tons of tundra is a good thing. Floodplains. Floodplains can't have them. Okay, that's good to remember. Floodplains can't have them. Always forget that. Every single game. Doesn't matter how much of this game I play. Don't know what it is. Some sort of mental block with it. Let's try Rock Band number 2. 26% chance of dying, and they die again. It's also worth pointing out that this guide is a little bit biased because I have spectacularly bad luck with rock bands. If you play this game, chances are your rock bands will behave better than mine. Mine just insist on dying every game. I'm not even joking. It is genuinely every game. I can't get them to work ever, and that's my little rant. The other problem with rock bands is if they start getting any good, the AI just puts this card in music censorship, which blocks them, and then they can't get into the territory, and they're useless. And the problem is, you can only do that if you've got a lot of culture, because it lives in space race. So the culture leader is probably already going to have it. It's just a nightmare. Oh, there we go. This one didn't die. It didn't level up. It made less tourism, but it didn't die. Okay, the albums sold is good. The more albums you sell, they add up cumulatively, and they are worth more and more tourism as you go. Doesn't make them any less or more likely to die, but it does help to, actually generate some tourism. You can already see, though, that the BioSphere has upped our tourism by 200 more just on 1 turn's worth of solar farms, and we are literally still only just getting started here. There's quite a cute little interaction here as well. This is the city that I have Raina in, and Raina has an ability that makes all renewable energy give 2 more power, basically doubles them. So this wind farm is generating 4 power, which means it's making 18 tourism. Just a fun little extra for you there. Advanced power cells. Okay, it's not there. That's unfortunate. We're gonna have to just go a few more techs, see if we can find it. And there we go. Milita. Finally, we can get that extra well-needed tourism we clearly need. Again, be careful where you use your rock band. There is no broadcast center in that theater square, but there is one over here. 4th time lucky. You can see we haven't promoted. Yep, just a regular one, but the tourism went up slightly for a bad performance. Still only 1,250. Not enough to get a tourist. Don't get me wrong. Sometimes you do get spectacularly good rock bands, but it's rare. It is very, very rare. Just to check in back with us again, we've gone from 3,100 to 3,700, just based purely on solar farms. You can now see on the tourism lens how much that I've transformed my empire and how much it's doing still. Most effective things, 37 tourists on the government plaza, theater square, and theater square. But yeah, we've now gone past that on the national park. 43 tourists just on that. I mean, it really does help you to see just why this number is getting so wild. That is a 39 tourism seaside resort. I love that. Again, Raina City. Really cool. Try again. That's the 3rd concert. And again, no level up. A little bit more tourism generated. This is just the album sales going up and up and up. Try again. 4th time lucky. There we go. We've got a promotion. So the rock band now is level 2, which means they generate more tourism. They are more survivable, and they get more albums. So you can simply just double the amount of albums there. And we get another promotion. You very rarely see see this one. Trade routes or trading posts with every civ in the game. Love it. We are going to give ourselves, now that we have one level, an ability that generates more tourism, like Space Rock is a good one. Extra tourism if the campus has a university and one level more experienced. There are a lot of campuses with research labs and universities. That'll be a good one for us. Melita, the second merchant we were after. Fantastic. It's a good target. This time we perform at a research lab. You'll see we're only working one level more because we're doing it at a campus, not a theater square, and it's 26% again. Maybe we look for another level up before we do this, but I think they don't have any more theater squares with all of the stuff. Oh no, they do. There is one more. Okay, we'll try and get one more level, then we'll go to campus. 7,451. Remember that? Melita is used, makes trade routes more effective, and 8,400. So, yep, currently she is worth just alone about 5 tourists per turn, and you're going to see this number get even bigger now. So now we've only got a 16% chance of dying, which we didn't do. Okay, that's good. But as you can see, only 3,000 tourism, like 2 tourists. It's very, very, very small numbers. I guess it is fractional on the top end just to bring down the number you're heading towards, but I just don't think they're very worth it. Can we get to level 3? No, 6,000 tourism. So that's worth about 3 tourists. Begins to get worth a little bit more now. All right, no more theater squares. So we'll try in the campus. Slightly bigger chance of dying, but we make slightly more tourism, 5,500, and we get the promotion. Fantastic. You don't like to see that. Blimey, that's pretty much everything broken there. Ouch. Atomic Era, I wanted to show you before the end of this because Golden Age wise, we have something that makes us even more powerful. Remember 2 numbers, 8,687 tourism to the Cree and 204 tourism on this national park. Golden Age gives us this option. Wish you were here. Cities with governors get 50% tourism from world wonders. I'm telling you now, that is nothing, but 100% tourism to national parks. We click that. 408 tourism. They literally double. This city is now an absolute monster. 10,941 tourism to the Cree. It's got so bad that Arabia is about to run out of tourists, as is the Aztecs. I've literally stripped them of all of them. When that happens, effectively your tourism per turn is cut by 1/7 because Arabia have no one to give you, so you stop generating tourists. It can actually be a problem if too many of your opponents have low culture. Worth keeping an eye on. Nothing you can really do about it. Sometimes you can feed them great works or give them gold to help them out if you really need to. Maybe give them cities, but it's a very strange place to be. We actually managed to hit level 4 of the rock band. I don't remember the last time that happened. 7,000 tourism, 750 album sales. There it is. Predictive systems. Offshore wind farm. 5,200 tourism at the moment, but as you can see, we're ready for more. So predictive systems gives the offshore wind farm. This provides 2 power, just like the other improvements, but it can be built on the coast, which normally is 3 real estate. I'm just going to do 1 turn and just show you how much tourism this generates. So we're on 5,200 at the moment, okay? Just remember that number as I start placing these everywhere. And I do mean everywhere. Remember, not ocean, just coast tiles. Yeah, I had a lot of builders ready for this. My rock band is currently making 11,000 tourism, which is about 6 tourists. Okay, fair enough. Meaningful amounts now. I take the point. That's a swing of about 10 envoys with Cree. So 1 turn, we made about 600 tourism. That's just 1 turn. And I've barely used my coast. I have so much of it. I have so many random islands that can be filled out here. This is the most effective way to make tourism in the game. This is why BioSphere is considered to be one of the best culture wonders, if not the best culture wonder in the game. Between this, Eiffel Tower and Golden Gate Bridge, they are beautiful. 82 tourists on a single park. I never get used or bored of seeing these sort of numbers. I mean, look at how many tourism events I have going on in my empire now. It's beautiful. There we go. We've made roughly 3 times as many tourists as we need to win the game. Arabia and Aztec have been totally drained from their domestic pool. I hope this guide was useful. I appreciate this was a very, very long video, but we've been through pretty much everything I can think of, and I'm interested to hear your thoughts. Let me know in the comments. Anything you didn't know? Anything you want to add to what I'm saying? Any opinions or rebuttals? Between us, we can make an encyclopedic guide to culture victories. But just remember, even when your start is terrible, you can do it. It's always within your grasp. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you, channel supporters, for being awesome. I've been HUZZAH, and I'll see you next video. Goodbye. Goodbye. And finally, a very special shout out goes to Glorious Petra, Klibben Thurders, Poppy Dude, The Nickerman, Mushkin Mandeltort, Matthew Wilkinson, Paul Coffey, Toon General, The Uncivil Engineer, Radiatore, Debo91, Dan Jamo, Slither Alley, Scott Stratton, Skeptical Bear, Cinnamon Beard, Private Selection, Genoa Salami, Callum Billy, Garrett Gowan, El Truant, Creston, RB Hedge, Burial, I'm Daft, Gooberman, Dr. Bobby, Mixomatosis, Indigenous 68, Teddy Zursa, Barnaby Rex, Charlie Bears, Nate the Great, Alex Frost, Mean Penguin, Interplanet Janet, Frankincense Battlezord, Geography Teacher, Juvara, Morax, Sinikush, Echo Bear, Legally Trash, Shadow of Gaia, Bob Tway, Abstract Fun, JP Genius, Arctic Fox. Thank you everyone for your support. Goodbye!